You damn right. Welcome to the last day of January. Kind of hard to believe that it is almost over. And there's some complex weather issues going on at the end of January. There's a promo running right now where Zay's singing about being so icy. That's not what he's talking about. That is not what he's talking about. But it is one of my favorite promos ever. Be listening for that. Right now, you get the whole version. You get the full version of Chad and Zay. I'm Chad Hastings. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Hope you're safe and sound. And unlike us, not having to work today, I am joined once again by Isaiah Collier. He's working today. What's up, Zay?
What's poppin', Chad? Yeah, I jinxed us because I came on these airwaves a couple weeks ago. It may have been a week ago. I don't know. These days, they just add up and just kind of are formed together at times. But I said, I ain't trying to be back up here for no winter storm, third year straight. And here we are again. Gonna be back up here, winter storm, at the horn. 3 years running.
And the string continues. And this is before it's happened. In the past, wasn't it always in February? I know one was right at Valentine's Day.
Yes, that's right.
Because I got to fully piss my wife off that year.
That's right.
Yeah.
One was during Valentine's Day. You're
right
right.
there,
Yeah.
right at it or right after it. We will definitely be talking weather today. We hope, hope everybody's good. Hope everybody is maybe getting the day off. I know a lot of school districts had already chosen to have today off, and now there are announcements already coming out that tomorrow is also going to be off for a lot of school districts. Why didn't they do this when I was a kid? Why weren't we able to get this done as efficiently? It's amazing nowadays how fast they can get that word out. If you go to hornfm.com, you can link to a page with school closures, early dismissals, but all the major school districts around the area look like they are not going to have class tomorrow. We'll go over some of that for you at 12:30. We'll talk about weather. We'll talk about what we're going to be doing during the weather and all that good stuff as we roll through this Tuesday. There's obviously football to get into, and there is definitely basketball to get into. There was a fight at the Moody Center last night between Texas and Baylor. Little Brazos River war. That last night kind of made me realize I'm gonna miss it when Texas and Baylor aren't getting together anymore for sports. As a third-party observer, who by the way always roots for Texas. I never root for Baylor in anything.
Why is that?
Why do I never root for Baylor?
I mean, obviously, we know their history.
Just
that's down there.
That's part of it too. But also, just as an Aggie, who has this job, it's just not a team I root for.
Okay,
never rooted for Baylor. Just not my deal. So, like rooting against them. I think I was trained as a youngster. Not it's a conference rival, but also a conference rival that's also a private school like that.
Right.
Kind of feeling like, oh, they're always looking down their nose at you and blah blah blah. So yeah, never root for them. But last night was that kind of reminder when they're not getting together anymore. I'm going to kind of miss it a little bit. Texas beats Baylor 76-71. I'll let you jump in, Zay. Obviously, you follow hoops closer than anybody in this building. You are a Longhorn fan. I know you were really interested in seeing if Texas could get this win. You predicted they would. You predicted they would get the win, and they did. What'd you see last night?
Yeah, let's start with Baylor, because to what you're saying, Chad, with Baylor and rooting for them, I don't like Baylor as a whole, but I do love me some Scott Drew. I think he's a guard's dream. If you're a guard coming into college and getting recruited and you're a top-tier guard and Scott Drew walks in the room, who cares about their facilities down there and whatnot? He's going to give you opportunities to eat. Because he loves some guard play, kind of like how Kellen Moore loves to see that ball go through the air. Hey, Scott Drew loves to see guards shoot the ball, guards take it to the rack, shoot floaters, runners. He loves extreme guard play. So you've seen it just over the years. Ever since he's been there forever. But, Del Valley native, one of my favorite players to come out of this area, Curtis Geralds, went to Baylor and was nice. Lefty, I don't know if y'all remember Curtis Geralds. He was really good, had a great career in Europe due to what Scott Drew allowed him to do. Just allowed him to have a lot of freedom, allowed him to make mistakes and, just to be a straight up creator. Then they had guys like Pierre Jackson, who was undersized, but a really good player. Then we saw what, he did a couple of years ago with Maceo Teague and Davion Mitchell, who now plays for the Sacramento Kings, and Jared Butler, who's trying to make his name in the NBA that's, kind of bouncing around the G League. So Scott Drew, he gives these guards so much confidence, and you see that. Like, yes, they took some bad shots last night, but that's a lot credit to the Horns and the defense that they played. 30% from the three-point line, 36% for the field, Baylor was, but just they only lost by 5. And that shot at the end by Keontae George, that deep-ass three, when they were about 24 seconds on the shot clock, a lot of people were like, man, that's a bad shot. And for a lot of people, it is. I say on these airways all the time. For certain guys, that's a bad shot. For guys like Keontae George, it ain't. Because we're in the era where there's analytics going on. You don't know if Coach Terry, which he's a good coach, knowing Coach Terry, he's probably going to foul soon. Whenever they get into their plays and stuff, they're going to foul so they could send that guy to the free throw line so they could shoot two shots instead of hitting the 3 to tie the game. Keontae George said, I ain't even going to let that happen. Let me just pull up for deep and see what happens. I shot it early. It might be a long shot. Maybe we could get the offensive rebound. That didn't happen. Then the Horns went down and made free throws at the end. So, man, that's that team, they're scary. LJ Cryer, the 19 points that he had. Keontae George, 17. Adam Flagler, 11. They all didn't shoot very well. 7 for 17 for LJ Cryer. 5 for 18 for Keontae George. 4 for 12 for Adam Flagler. Great defense by Rodney Terry's squad, coming back for a very embarrassing loss against Tennessee. I know Tennessee's good, but that's an embarrassing loss. They punked them on Saturday night. They were the more physical team. They let them know about it, and it seemed like the Horns backed down. The Horns showed me some toughness, and you heard Coach Terry talk about on the presser. He challenged those guys. Hey, we got to bounce back. We got another huge game Monday night at home with the schedule that we have. We got to take all these games at home. They brought it. Timmy Allen was terrific, 7 for 10 from the field, 18 points, getting to his spots. And shout out to this coaching staff for putting Timmy Allen in situations where he could be successful. Those 3 guards that I named for Baylor, they're not the biggest guys. Keontae George, he's stocky, but he's only around 6'3". They did a good job, the Horns did, by putting Timmy Allen in situations where he could post up and have those mismatches so he didn't have those problems that he had in Tennessee where they have the longer guys like Julian Phillips and Kamwa, Josiah Jordan-James to contest those shots by Timmy Allen. So him getting to his spot, shooting that pull-up jumper that he likes, getting to the lane. He got a nice little and one off a really good pass from Sir'Jabari Rice early on in the game, and then he showed that emotion. You saw him, flex on the side like, you need that. You need that from Timmy Allen because he's one of the big leaders on this squad. When Marcus Carr goes 2 for 8 and only has 5 points in the game, if you would have told me this last night, I would have been a little scared. Oh yeah,
I wouldn't think Texas could win a game where Marcus Carr hits 2 field goals.
No, but Sir'Jabari Rice, man, before this season even started, I told you when I went and saw them play against Arkansas, he's going to be a Longhorn favorite. That's what I told everybody. He's going to be a Longhorn favorite because he just knows how to play the game. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the most athletic guy, but he's more athletic than you think. He's quicker than you think, and he's so good and deceptive with his moves. The pump fake, it couldn't be better. Even though you scout it, he's still going to get you with it, especially now that he's hitting threes. These last few games against Tennessee and against Baylor last night, he's starting to really shoot the ball well. We saw that toward the end of the second half. Every time Baylor started to come back just a little bit, Sir'Jabari Rice hits a huge shot to put the Horns up by 5, to put the Horns up by 7, just different key moments. And now you got to respect that. Every time you close out, now that pump fake's even more deadlier due to him hitting those threes. So he's going to have to continue to play. Tyrese Hunter, huge game last night. I know he was embarrassed from Zakai Ziegler and that 22 and 10 he gave him on Saturday.
You could tell.
Yeah. And his defense, kind of started his offense. He had a really nice little poke steal off the help side defense when Keontae George was driving to the lane that led to a breakout layup. And then he had a nice little passing lane steal that led to the Arterio Morris layup. So you're going to need that with him. And he also hit some timely threes, just like Sir'Jabari Rice. So when Marcus Carr, your leading scorer, only has 5 points last night, and you got to talk about Marcus Carr's big time shot and clutch time. I mean, you're 1 for 7, bro. You're 1 for 7
to shoot that fall away like that and nail it. That was
ice water.
Wow,
ice water.
That's
man.
impressive.
That's confidence. That says a lot about his character, because a lot of guys would say, you know what, tonight's not my night. Maybe give it to Jabari Rice and let him eat or take that type of shot. Marcus Carr said, no, I'm still the man, even though I've missed even though I'm 1 out of 7 as of now. My confidence hasn't diminished. And he went out, hit a huge shot last night. That's a solid Baylor team that hasn't lost in a while. Big time win for Coach Terry and the Horns.
No doubt about it. Just a tough, hard-fought win. I was, worried's not the right word. I was a little concerned for Texas at points in this game because I kept thinking the same thing. I kept thinking, man, I feel like Texas is better tonight. I feel like they're playing better, but it's only blank. It's only 5. Oh, they just got it back to 4. Well, now it's down to 2. There was a moment where Baylor was down 2 and took a 3 that would have given them the lead, and they missed it. But I was thinking, wow, if they'd have hit that. It just didn't feel like Baylor should have been leading that game, but they kept in, and you talked about with Scott Drew and his team, they just kept fighting, they kept scrapping, they kept going.
Oh, man.
They stayed right there. But credit to Texas, like you said, they seem to have every moment they needed it. They couldn't ever get it to 10 or 12 or 14, but they did push it back out to 7, back out to 8, back out to 9 if they needed to give them enough distance there to get a tough win. That's a heck of a matchup. Those two teams together. It's entertaining, but it is also highly, highly physical. I'd watch that again.
Oh yeah. I can't wait. Well, I mean, it's gonna be a tough one when they go to the Farrell Center, but it's gonna be another fun one. Who knows how many, like you were saying, Chad? Who knows how many Baylor Texas matchups you're gonna get at the end of the day with the Horns going to the SEC? But like I said yesterday, the freshmen are gonna have to give you something, and they did. Dylan Mitchell was solid last night. That was a big 5 points that he had. The tip dunk that he had that got the Moody Center rocking.
Yeah.
Talk about athleticism. That's where
that was nice.
All the NBA scouts, that's where their eyes brighten.
With the left.
Yeah, that's where everybody's like, oh, there it is. Where everybody's like, where's this, lottery pick guy that we haven't seen in a while? That's it.
Kapow.
When he dunks it like that, that's what the NBA scouts are loving. And then Arterio Morris. 8 minutes last night, but he had a solid 4 points, a nice little pull-up jumper when he had the mismatch on the big man, and then he had the nice layup off the Tyrese Hunter steal. And then he had a nasty chase down LeBron-like block, which led to free throws from the Baylor Bears at the end of the day, so I think people forget about it. But Arterio Morris shows you so many flashes of, man, that guy, no wonder he was a McDonald's All-American, but it's just so hard for him to find minutes. Again, only 8 last night when you got Tyrese Hunter and Sir'Jabari Rice and Marcus Carr, all those guys, getting 20 minutes plus. Marcus Carr, 30, Tyrese Hunter, 32, Sir'Jabari Rice, 24. It's tough to get on the court, and Coach Terry, he's done a good job with mix and matching. Last night, we've seen Brock Cunningham finish a few games as of late. Well, last night we saw those 3 guards I just named, Carr, Rice, and Hunter, with Dylan Dessou and Timmy Allen. They finished the game and they were knocking down free throws to help ice it. Like Dylan Dessou made a couple of huge free throws at the end. Timmy Allen did, and so did Sir'Jabari Rice. This Horns team, I don't think we talk about that enough. They're a really good free throw shooting team. That Illinois game, after that, where Sir'Jabari Rice had a bad foul, which sent Illinois to the line and gave them chances to score, and Tyrese Hunter missed a huge free throw up at the Garden, this team is completely changed on just knocking down free throws, having ice wire in their veins, not allowing that to be an issue. We know Dylan Mitchell is not the best free throw shooter. Christian Bishop, he'll be good at times. Dylan Mitchell actually airballed a free throw yesterday, which...
Yep.
He got hurt at the time, which if you hoop, you know how that goes. You airball a free throw, you're like, my wrist. Something's up. My leg, my ankle. Like, I ain't used to airballing. They showed him for a
You give
hot
a little
minute.
bit of...
Yo, ESPN had the camera on him for about a minute, and he was just Yeah, I can't feel my wrist. I can't feel my forearm. Y'all saw that air ball, and hopefully he's good. But now you're at the point, thinking of bumps and bruises and stuff. Now you're at the point of the Big 12 of how much of a gauntlet it is, how physical and tough it is. You saw Sir Jabari Rice; he got banged up a little bit last night. He was kind of hobbling around. Where I was like, uh-oh. Thank goodness he was tough enough to push through it. But Dylan Mitchell, he also went out with that little wrist injury, and so did Tyrese Hunter. Today, if it's all gloomy outside and cold, this is one of those everybody go get treatment. If I'm Coach Terry, we ain't touching the floor. You can touch the floor if you want to, get some individual work in, shoot some free throws on your own, maybe do some light post work, maybe work on some, catch and shoot jumpers. But we know what's at stake. We know what's up next. You're basically getting your hotel in Kansas for the next 2 days or so. I don't know the distance between Manhattan and Lawrence. It can't be too far. Kansas is small. But still, you're going to be up there for 3 days, and you got to play against 2 top 10 teams.
And now Texas is all alone in first place in the Big 12 with a 7-2 record. Those 2 teams play tonight, by the way. Kansas State at Kansas this time. I believe it's Allen Fieldhouse this time. If Kansas State wins that game, it will be a tie, 7-2 and 7-2, and then you really have something to look forward to at the Octagon of Doom on Saturday. But right now the Longhorns are by themselves in first place, and if I saw the stat correctly, Zay, they've got now 7 wins against Quad 1 teams, which is second in the country.
Nice.
I think that's right.
That's big time.
Yeah, only one other team has more than they do. So Texas with a hard-fought victory. I'm looking at the standings here where there are, 6 teams in the Big 12 that are the top 6 teams right now are all ranked. And obviously the Longhorns just got a win against one of them. If you have thoughts, if you were there at the Moody Center, let us know. Specs text line 337-3776. This text says, one of my best friends is Keontae George's uncle. My buddy played baseball at UT and was pushing Keontae hard.
No, he had no chance of coming here, y'all.
To the Burn Orange.
I knew he had no chance.
But no go.
Yeah, I knew he had no chance.
Why is that?
Well, Chris Beard's probably like, you're going to be one and done. You're not going to be able to take the shots that you want to take. Scott Drew was like, you're going to be able to take any shot you want to take. Did you not? Did you see that 3 that he took
that range,
toward the end of the game?
Yeah.
Did you see a couple of shots? Brock Cunningham talking about maintenance today and just trying to get in the tub and chill. He better ice them ankles because the shot that Keontae George hit to go into the halftime where Coach Terry called that timeout, that's an NBA shot. Like, he reminds me of Anthony Edwards, but he doesn't have the same athleticism as Anthony Edwards. Plays for Minnesota Timberwolves, former number 1 pick out of Georgia. He has a lot of that type of game and just that type of skill offensively. Now, what separates Anthony Edwards and Keontae George, Anthony Edwards is a ridiculous athlete, probably top 20 in the NBA. Like, should be in the slam dunk contest every year. I can't say the same about Keontae George, even though he's really athletic. Y'all saw that really nice left-handed finish on Dylan DeSue, which that's a weak call to me. Like, Dylan DeSue didn't fall. There was a little bit of contact. Keontae George avoided it, but still, he fell hard. It was a nice finish. That's an NBA-level finish. And I told y'all yesterday, earlier in the season, a lot of Baylor's troubles were due to nobody knowing who the man was. Like Adam Flagler and LJ Cryer, those guys got skins in the wall, especially Adam Flagler having the national championship under his belt. He was a 6th man on that team that won it with Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler, Maceo Teague. So coming in, Keontae George, he's been taking those shots all year long. Like, he was taking those shots when they were in Europe playing their little summer league circuit that a lot of these college teams do. Like, I was watching film on him, and he was taking these same deep-ass threes, quick releases, step backs. Who cares what the shot clock says? 5 seconds off the shot clock. It don't matter. I'm open. This ain't open for you. Well, it's open for me type of game. And Adam Flagler and LJ Cryer, they weren't playing in those games. So when they came back and they started the regular season, it was tough for Scott Drew to be like, yo, this guy, he's good. He might be our leading scorer, but you guys, Adam Flagler and LJ Cryer, y'all got to be more mature about the situation. If we're going to win, you got to understand he going to get his. Y'all going to still get y'all's, but we got to make it all mesh. And I thought Coach Terry did a good job of double teaming those guys coming off of ball screens early on. I mean, they picked and choose and got their shots, no matter what. But I think that did slow them down, and that's why you saw bad percentages from all of them.
If you want to jump in on the text line like this person did, 337-3776. This says Tyrese Hunter had the eye of the tiger last night. Probably tired of the cramps talk in the media. Might be. He had a good performance last night. So did Texas. We're going to talk about that throughout the show. There's football to get into as well. There's an interesting recruiting rumor going around today that would be really good news for the Longhorns if it's true. We'll let you know about that. National Signing Day 2, of course, is tomorrow to close out the 23 cycle. Also up next, we'll get you those weather updates, let you know kind of what we're seeing about what we're dealing with here. If you don't have to go out, don't do it. Just listen to us right here on The Horn. That's a serious voice right there. This is, yeah, you made me feel like dancing, right? I'm on a dancing night away. See, you're going into that dance disco era, though.
Yeah, it's 70s.
You're right into that spot where I might not know. Single artist or a group?
Single artist.
It's a single artist.
Yeah.
Female, correct?
No.
No?
I mean, it might have been a female at the beginning, but
Main artist
this is
not.
a dude.
So, wow. Okay, I don't know. I have no guess here.
Leo Sayer?
Yep, didn't have that one. Leo Sayer?
Yeah.
Okay, Leo. My bad.
English Australian singer.
Oh, mercy. That's a serious note right there. All right, now I can hear it. All right, Leo. You the man. Leo Sayer starting us off today. Whew.
Leo had a nice Julius Erving-like fro.
Did
in
he?
the 70s, yeah.
Nice. Dr. J had one of the best fros in the world.
Man, easy.
Yeah, that's a good subject, too. Just the best late 70s sports or entertainment fros out there. Because definitely Dr. J's in
After
the discussion.
Dr. J, it just gets fuzzy for me.
The guys I would mention immediately, because I'm a Cowboys fan, are Drew Pearson, Billy Joe Dupree. Who was the other one? There was another Dallas Cowboy. Oh, Tony Hill. Tony Hill had a nice afro as well. Yeah, he had a nice
Artist
fro.
Gilmore had a good fro.
Oh, yeah, he did. And the facial hair helped, too.
Yeah.
Like, the whole look was awesome.
OJ was rocking the fro back in his days.
Yeah, he was.
Why are you laughing?
Before. Yeah, that's pre-94, OJ. Leo Sayer, somebody texted it right away saying that's Leo hitting all those notes. Yes, he is. My goodness. Before we get into this weather stuff, Zay, as always, our man Craig Way's got the info. He texted us 80 miles between Manhattan and Lawrence.
Not too bad.
And apparently the plan is going to be that they are going to just bus from one to the other. And so they're going to play the game at the Octagon of Doom. They're going to roll into Lawrence on Saturday evening. And according to Craig, the plan is going to practice at Allen Fieldhouse Sunday. We'll shoot around and then hit it Monday night. How about that?
Rest up, y'all.
Yeah.
Rest up. These last few days have been brutal. You could tell just a little bit of everybody's getting banged up and stuff. Got to be right when you go play these good teams.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. This is we talked about this part of the schedule, and now if you're going to, now it's 1-1, and let's see, is it going to be, at this point, I think 2-2 in the stretch would be pretty good considering you're looking at 2 road games. If you can get one of these, that'd be pretty nice for Texas.
Yeah. Both of these teams, if you look at Kansas, which I think Texas matches up better with Kansas than they do Kansas State. Kansas State has all those long, like Keontae Johnson. Oh boy, he's like 6'7". He looks 240. They say he's about 220. They lying. Boy, he bigger than that. And he plays bigger than that. Then they got number 35. His name is drawn the blank. Tomlin, something Tomlin, who I just read, he's only been playing basketball. Like, he didn't play AAU or high school basketball.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know his story or how Jerome Tang went and found him, but that's incredible that he found him. I'm picturing, like, you remember in Blue Chips when who's Nick
Nolte?
Nick Nolte went and saw Shaq, and Shaq just playing in some gutter gym in Louisiana somewhere, and Shaq doesn't have the grades or nothing. That's what I'm picturing.
Okay.
For Tomlin. Like, Jerome Tang just went somewhere where they hoop, and he heard, like, hey, there's a 6'11" brother that's nice. Who knows about his grades, or who knows if he even went to school, but he's nice, and he's around that age where he can play in college. Check him out. Jerome Tang said, all right.
Yeah.
And got him on campus, and he's been a key part of their team ever since.
Coach, right down that hallway. Go down there, turn right, and just past all the weird piping and stuff, there's a cave, and knock on the door, and that's where they're playing. That's where they are. They're down that way. By the way, I've never seen Blue Chips. I know. I need to see Blue Chips.
Oh, wow.
I know. I've never seen it.
What a classic.
All right. So lots of obviously basketball thoughts going on with Texas getting the win over Baylor. First place all by themselves, unless Kansas State can win tonight at Kansas, and then it'll be Texas and Kansas State tied for first in the conference going into the game on Saturday. All of that is up for grabs today. We got a lot of football, obviously, to discuss with the NFL. It is Pro Bowl week. Technically, we're going to get into some of that mess today. And speaking of mess, the weather is a big mess again. Well, not quite a big mess yet, but it is a mess in the area. And if you want to check it out, you can go to hornfm.com for a list of school closures and things like that. Also, shout out to our winter weather partners over at CBS Austin. You can check out what they've got going on. They do incredible work right now, keeping everybody up to date. So I'm seeing here school districts that have canceled classes for tomorrow include Bastrop, Blanco, Del Valle, Elgin, Founders Classic Academy of Leander, Hayes, Hutto, Johnson City, Leander. Did I mention Leander already? I may have. Lockhart, Luling, Manor, Round Rock, San Marcos, Texas State University, Round Rock, Texas State University, San Marcos. That's what I'm seeing on a list here. So if you are, so Zay, that would mean your wife, my child, all off of school today and tomorrow?
Yeah.
Lucky bastards.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
What are they doing today?
Chilling.
Man.
My wife hanging out with the dog.
That's what she was doing when I left. And then here's my wife does this too. My wife will sit there with the dog, super comfortable. And as soon as I walk up to say, all right, I'm leaving, and she knew I was leaving, and we'll talk about the idea is that, you and me and maybe a couple others are going to be spending the night here tonight, so we're leaving for a day or so. And she says to the dog, tell Daddy not to go. Tell Daddy not to go. It's like, don't do that. Don't make me feel bad. What are you doing? And the dog is looking at me all sad and everything. So
this is year 3 for me. My wife basically helping me pack. What you need. I was prepared for this. She went to the grocery store. Thank goodness I have a lovely lady that just cares about me and thinks about things that I don't think about because, sometimes my brain's just not thinking like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she went out to H-E-B, Target run, got your boy a few things,
really?
A few snacks here. So I'm prepared.
Very nice.
Again, this is the 3rd year. So she knows she's been through it a few times with me. And yeah, it's going to be, times like this make me feel important. When I have to be up here, it makes me feel like an essential worker.
Oh, it is that. No, it is definitely essential.
Like the doctors and the firemen, the policemen, then there's us.
That's it, the ice crew.
Yeah, the ice crew.
Right now, the ice crew would be Zay, Ty Henderson from B&E, and me. Right now, that's the ice crew.
That's the ice crew.
So you may hear a lot of us over the next day, on the next day or so, because things have to be covered, things have to be dealt with. We want to make sure everybody's safe. It is one of those things because if you're in certain jobs, there are certain jobs when the bosses say, "Oh, we want y'all to be safe." Sometimes that's followed by comma, and y'all have the day off. At other jobs, that's followed by comma, but y'all really know what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
And we're just in that latter situation. So we understand we have these cool creative jobs, but in this case, we have the jobs where we got to have something on the air. We got to take care of our clients. We got to take care of our partners. We got to take care of all that. And most importantly, we got to keep you guys informed. We got to keep you entertained, and we got to keep your mind off of all this stuff that's going on with the weather.
I never believed Bucky Godbolt when he did his old Farmer's Almanac stuff where he predicted the weather. Buck's probably a good 10% on that. For him to take off, he had these days off.
Yeah, this is
for a while.
Brilliant on Bucky's part.
Genius. He saw this coming.
I can vouch for it because I'm one of the ones that sees that stuff now about vacation days. Oh, he had this in at least 2 weeks ago.
How the hell he know that?
I don't know. Yeah, February 1st through 3rd. Check. Bucky had that figured out.
Yeah, you've been telling me about it for months. I'm taking the first part of February off.
Crazy.
I'll be back Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't know how he figured that out. Don't know how he knew the math, but I guess he knew the math. So we hope you guys are safe out there, and we will be keeping you up to date. Now, Zay, from what I'm seeing, this is where it gets really personal, just for me, Zay, and Ty on the ice crew. From what I'm seeing right now, Zay, I think it's only going to be a one-nighter. I think. Because the issue is tomorrow morning, for those of you that need to get out early in the morning, I'm seeing hour by hour here, starting at midnight, I'm seeing right at freezing, 39% chance, then a 51% chance, 58% chance at 2 a.m., 63% chance at 3 a.m. This is for Austin, by the way. 75% chance at 4 a.m. So again, getting the day started, and you're at up to 75% at 8 a.m. with a 31-degree mark. So just under freezing. Today it was just over. My drive in today, the car told me it was like 33 degrees the whole way. Everything that was hitting the windshield was liquid. And I was able to, use the wipers, no problem. One little slick spot on a bridge. We all know to look out for that. And that was all I dealt with. But the good news I'm seeing, Zay, is that by tomorrow at, looky there, 1 p.m., it goes to 33 degrees. Still 60, 70% chance of rain, but 33 degrees, then 34 degrees. By 6 p.m., 35 degrees. And by the time we get to 3 a.m., it's still at 35 degrees. So it will be wet, but it will not be frozen, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then we will be able to hopefully go home.
Yes, and thank y'all, everybody on the Specs text line, 337-3776. I forgot the postal workers, too.
Oh, heck yeah.
Mailman and women. Forgot about them. I saw them out there. They're going hard.
Postal workers. Today's the garbage day in my neighborhood. I don't think those people stop. I don't think they get off a day like today.
H-E-B. I saw H-E-B popping.
H-E-B definitely.
Working at a restaurant and stuff.
Sure. They're not getting off.
They're not getting off.
They're keeping it rolling. Yeah. Shout out to everybody that is working today. Be careful out there. Watch out and don't go slipping and sliding if you don't need to.
Also, Chad, before you send any emails out, just make sure you add every single person when you send that email out. Because, as somebody that didn't feel a part of the team that year one. Was that last year or was that year one? I don't remember.
Oh, my God. That was 2021.
That was 2021? Okay. Yeah. Your boy was putting in some tough hours, you know what I'm saying? And didn't make that email. Didn't make that congratulations email. But I don't know. I guess I just got lost in there. I felt the love. We were both here. I felt the love from you. Just not everybody else knew the love.
There are times in my life when I'm certain that something's only going to last about a week. That's when I was certain that my job was only going to last about a week. I really did think that was about it. Like, yeah, you're not very good at this. But thankfully, there's been some understanding around me. There's been some people that, have helped me out during that time period. Bucky's one of the main ones that helped me through that time period.
Oh, yeah.
And since then, we're Bucky. And I just sort of sloughed it off the first time he said it, but then he comes back to me and says, stop being so specific. Stop it. Stop trying to specifically thank everybody for everything. And I was trying to do my best to thank all the people.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I thought of everyone that was involved. I was dealing with everyone that was involved, and I was going through it in my mind. And that's the year there was no power, and the power and the water was out, and everything was.
We were here for a week.
Everything was a mess, and we were here multiple days, and we're trekking back and forth to some house nearby, and there's ice and there's snow. And yeah, I sent out an email specifically thanking individuals, did not specifically thank Isaiah, and then to make it worse, because there was only one way to make that situation worse, to have Trey Elling to point it out over and over and over and over and over again.
Every time he pointed out too, the story would be even more depressing.
It gets more. Yeah, it would get worse.
Zay stuck at the station, his wife alone with their new dog.
It's
newlyweds.
It is a wonder you have not punched me square in the face at some point because of all that egging on. But I do appreciate your understanding through all that mess. We appreciate all of you, and we hope we can, help take your mind off of all this stuff. But the plan is that Zay, myself, and Ty, at least, will be here overnight. So, weird camp out. And the first time we've been in the building since it got partially gutted up here on the 4th floor.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work. Since we went like full Die Hard on this portion of the floor, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to go. I do not know exactly where I'm sleeping, but I got the camping cot ready to go.
Yeah, I already got my usual space in Dave in the Cave's room.
You're going in
nice
there? Okay, I got you.
That's my go-to. It's been the go-to for the last 2 years. It's nice because you could put Dave's computer and you pull up Spotify and pop some music in there. And I can have like a little party, which I did these last few years. So if you hear some serious music bumping, You know where the party's at.
Don't come a knocking.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Shout out to Ty Henderson, by the way, who brought his whole Xbox setup, but only one controller. What are we doing? What are we doing, Ty?
That is great.
Only one controller. Like what? I'm just gonna watch him play the whole time.
That's how Ty does it, Lord of the Flies style. It's just me, man. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Survival of me. That's all I'm worried about.
At least let me know. I would have brought my controller over, but it's
man.
all good. We gonna make it work.
We got updates for you throughout the day, weather-wise, and then also coming up in the Flex segment today at 1:30, we'll talk about some of those high school basketball games, the ones that have been canceled, the ones that have been moved. In general, just know if there's a boys or girls basketball game you were planning on going to see tonight, it's not going to be happening tonight. We'll get you the specifics, though, as we roll through. We'll talk some NFL coming up at 1:05. Who is going to the Pro Bowl? Does it really matter because it's not the Pro Bowl anymore? We'll get to that. Also, we got National Signing Day 2 coming tomorrow, and there is a rumor out there. In fact, let me hit it before we get to this break. I'm seeing a rumor out there, Zay. People are flipping over an SI.com mention about Deuce Robinson, the number one tight end. And there are experts in the recruiting world now predicting it'll be Texas.
Oh, get the hell out.
For Deuce Robinson.
Come on, Steve.
Come
on, Steve.
Now, this is, again, so this is a little more on that national front. We will have to see what our guys, what Jeff Howe and the crew over at horns247.com are hearing. But a national perspective, at least one person maybe thinking that Deuce Robinson could end up at Texas.
A.D. Mitchell, you know all the foul stuff that's happened down there in Athens. You've been there for a little bit. You know all the foul stuff. Throw that all at my boy. Throw that all at him so he could come down to Texas. Because I know he wants to go to Georgia. He saw how good the tight ends were, Bowers. They got tight ends going to the league that weren't even that productive this past year. They just good in the system. I get it. It looks good. I get Southern California, Compton, legal weed, Lincoln Riley, etc. Life's good. But come on, dog. Texas, they calling you. They calling. You see JT Sanders. You see how many looks he getting. They calling.
Might be.
They calling you, bro.
Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. National Signing Day 2 is coming tomorrow. We'll get into that. Up next, though, in the crap bag, I got 2 questions for the NFL, and I have a crap bag TV guide suggestion for you if you're closed up in the house for the next couple days. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, let's talk a little Underdog Fantasy. Good way to get your mind off of this crazy weather stuff. How about Underdog Fantasy? Easiest place to play fantasy sports. You get that app on your phone. Get a pick'em game put together today. Pick whether your favorite player is going to have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for your chance to win big. So, if you were looking at Luka Doncic last night, probably want to go higher on that score total, although for him, who knows how high that was last night. I'll admit I didn't look at that one. I need to check it out for the next game. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single playoff game. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. You can also make rivals picks, pit 2 players against each other, maybe cook one up for the upcoming Super Bowl. Don't forget the pick insurance option, which gives you a better chance to win. Sign up today with the promo code HORN. Get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. It's Underdog Fantasy. That bass is awesome. That's good stuff. A little instrumental for us today?
Yeah, a little instrumental.
Early instrumental in the first hour.
Do you not recognize this movie or show?
I was just going to say, it sounds like a movie. It sounds like some cop show's going on or something like that. It's like I don't know. Sounds like, I mean, it's not the theme from Shaft, but it's kind of got that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, it's around there.
Like a Shaft or
just think of a whiter version of Shaft.
A whiter version. Like a movie or TV show?
Boat.
Like a Starsky and Hutch?
There it is.
Is that right?
There you go.
How about that? Okay. Yeah, there we go. Starsky and Hutch, cool cars, cool hair, and some cool rhythm. All right, there you go. A little Starsky and Hutch for you.
Didn't they know a pimp?
Leo Sayer. Yes, that was Huggy Bear?
Huggy Bear.
I think that's right. Right? Huggy Bear, I think this is the name. Yeah, well, you got to have contacts, right?
Yeah, I'm with it.
Got to be able to do your job. Got to be able to know what's going on.
Yo, Starsky and Hutch, when they tried the remake with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, it's all right.
Yeah, that's a little too comedic for me. It's just like it's a little too, like, Starsky and Hutch wasn't a comedy in that realm. I mean, like, to me, you're trying to make fun of it in a way. That's where it's like that was tough. I never wanted to see it. I've never seen the deal with those two. I like those two.
I love those two.
But I didn't understand it as a comedy, just like when they did the
Snoop Dogg is Huckleberry?
Is he really? He's Huggy Bear?
Huggy Bear, yeah.
See, when they did the Dukes of Hazzard and they did...
Oh, that's just bad, yeah.
And they did Stifler and Johnny Knoxville.
Stifler.
I'm like...
Sean William Scott?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I just can't make... It feels like you're trying to go too straight up comedy. I can't... That's not what it was. That's not exactly what it was.
Wow, the fact that you're calling him Stifler really shows his
Yeah,
acting
I'm
chops.
sorry. I can't...
No, I mean, I get it.
Sean William Scott.
Sean William Scott,
okay,
yeah.
Yes, I probably need to learn his real name. That's probably...
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I definitely need to include his name if I'm sending an email to a group of people, but that's a whole nother story. Starsky and Hutch and Leo Sayer get us started today. All right, we got more NFL stuff coming up. We'll go over the Pro Bowl list. You will not believe who's in the Pro Bowl now. It may not ultimately matter. Plus, National Signing Day rumors out there. Could the Longhorns be in the lead or be getting... maybe into position for that big-time tight end out of Arizona tomorrow? We'll get you that info as well. Flex segment coming at 1:30. Basketball games have been moved or canceled around the area. Right now, though, let's get into the crab bag. I'll get on the NFL and give you an idea of something to watch on TV. Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. These are two questions that pop into my head every year, and it's always this week because we're getting into, off week before the Super Bowl, and we just had the championship games. My two basic questions for the NFL continue to be this. Are y'all ready to make some real trophies again for the championship games? Maybe I'm the only one that's bothered by these weird silver see-through trophies. But you shouldn't be able to see through a badass trophy, and you certainly shouldn't be able to hold them like that. They look like paperweights. They look like the thing that Jodie Foster fell through in Contact, could go see her dad on the beach, spoiler alert. And I don't understand why they're still there. In my day, you had those nice big blocks of wood and some metal on it. The Hallis Trophy felt like a Hallis Trophy. And the Lamar Hunt Trophy felt like a Lamar Hunt Trophy. That if somebody broke in your house and you hit them with it, they'd be out until the cops showed up. If I hit them with one of these new ones, I think I'd barely make a dent. I need new trophies. Please, NFL. Please.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about the trophies this year.
They feel lightweight to me, and they've had these for years. I guess they love them.
Probably since I saw the WNBA All-Star Trophy, that little teacup thing that they had.
Okay.
Brutal. I don't really judge trophies anymore. And then they completely ruined the NBA All-Star Trophy. You remember that? Like had a little circle and a little base around it. And I mean, I love the Kobe Bryant name and stuff, but you didn't have to change the trophy look. So I don't even worry about the trophies anymore.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people maybe don't, but I'm always looking at those little details. It's just kind of part of my sports OCD. So I'd love to see those trophies updated. By the way, if anybody saw that yesterday, the golf tournament that Rory McIlroy won, that thing they gave him in, was that Dubai or whatever? I thought that was awesome. That was a huge, wacky, big hunk of metal. I thought that was cool. The other question I always have for the NFL, and I seem to be the only one. I'm the only person I know that cares about this. But are we done yet with Roman numerals? Because it's so stupid to me. I've never thought that was cool. I've never thought it was interesting that the Super Bowl does Roman numerals. Like, do y'all get into LV, what is it, II this year? Like, you think that's cool? Coming up at 60, it'll be Super Bowl LX. Does that come with seat warmers? Like, what are we doing? And you'd have a point if you want to tell me, Chad, that's just the way it is. Except for the year it wasn't. If they love Roman numerals, what happened at 50? What was wrong with Super Bowl? What's that, L? What was wrong with that? Just because it's one letter? You were okay with XL with Super Bowl 40, but you wouldn't do 50. And that year they went to a number, and that's what really got me fired up because I thought it looked awesome. The year the Broncos played Cam Newton, it looked perfect. Perfect. Then the next year they went to Houston and somebody mocked up this great idea for Super Bowl 51 where you had a 5 and then the 1 was the Lombardi trophy. It was awesome. And then but they didn't do it. They just went back to the Roman numerals. I'm done with it. I was tired of it the first day I saw it. Like, my dad tried to convince me it was cool at Super Bowl 15 or whatever it was when I ducked in. But by Super Bowl 19, when Montana's playing Marino, I remember thinking, this is dumb. What are we doing? Why do you do this? Apparently, I'm the only one. NFL, I'll keep asking. Are y'all done yet? Y'all done with this? Because I think it's stupid.
So the band that we played yesterday, the Classics 4.
Yeah.
The Classics 4 is a Roman numeral. The 4 is.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, it was weird.
When in pro wrestling, when they had the 4 horsemen and they made those T-shirts with it expressed as a Roman numeral, I thought that was dumb. I thought that looked stupid.
Yeah.
That, like, when it was the Mongo era, Mongo and Benoit in that era, like, they did the IV. It's just no.
Is there any athlete that's like a 4 that uses it? Lonnie Walker?
Maybe. I mean,
Lonnie Walker. I think Lonnie Walker uses it.
That's one area where I might let you use it if you're truly the 4th of something.
Yeah, Lonnie Walker the 4th.
You're the
former
second
Spurs player.
If you're the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th in your family like that and you want to use it, okay, go ahead. That's fine. Throw that on your jersey if you want. But to express the Super Bowl, I just think it makes no sense. That's just me. All right, the other quick item for you, a crap bag TV guide moment. If you're locked up in the house or you're holed up in the house for the next day or so, get to your DVR. And if you are like me and you're into pro wrestling, I am so pumped about a match tomorrow night. AEW Dynamite, 7 to 9 p.m. tomorrow night on TBS. It is Samoa Joe against Darby Allin, championship match at the very end of it. So just record, fast forward to the end like I do. If you haven't watched AEW, there's a lot there. There's like 20 belts and about 80 wrestlers, and they're always just assaulting your senses with everything. But these two guys are awesome when they're together. They've had 2 matches recently, thoroughly entertaining. Samoa Joe is up over 300 pounds. He's like 6'2", 310 is where I saw him listed today. And there's no way Darby Allin is, he might be 200. But something about their chemistry works. Joe does an incredible job of putting Darby over in the matches. And Darby does a great job of just being super athletic and flies all over the place, and he does not apparently feel pain. They're awesome. So tomorrow night, TBS, I'll be watching. I know it just makes me a big nerd, but I don't care. I'm a full-grown man, and I love pro wrestling, especially when it's done as well as those two guys do it. So shout out to Samoa Joe and Darby Allin. I can't wait for tomorrow night. Just an idea for you if you're just in the house bored.
Yeah, I do love those smaller guys going against the bigger guys. I think the first one I noticed growing up was, you remember the Rey Mysterio, Kevin Nash, WCW little...
Oh, the dart throw?
Yes.
Yeah, when he threw him against the truck?
Yes.
That's one of the greatest moments in wrestling history.
That might be the first time I said, wow, like a very small cruiserweight, lightweight type of guy could play with the big boys and the heavyweights and make it work. And that was still when I'm thinking it's real, but... yeah, I'm like, oh, Rey Mysterio, he's always gonna die. And Rey Mysterio always held his own, and just that's great stuff.
And that's a hell of a bump to take off a trailer onto concrete.
Yo,
I mean, that's a hell of a thing to do. When Kevin Nash picks him up that far above the ground, that's the key to those times and those matches. The big guy has to put the little guy over and really make you believe he could hurt him. Because it's just tough to imagine. Samoa Joe's a great big guy. Darby Allin is as crazy as it gets in a good way. So I can't wait for that one. Just a little crap bag thought for you on this Tuesday. We hope everybody is safe and sound and warm. We'll keep you updated on what we're hearing about the weather. But also, the Pro Bowl list is out there. That'll be distracting for you this week, hopefully. And National Signing Day 2 is coming up tomorrow. Could the Longhorns end up with something really special towards the finish line? We'll get into all that. Stay with us. Last day of January on the Horn. All right, this is Chad talking Twin Peaks. Hey, maybe it's not tonight because of crazy weather, but when it's all said and done and things warm up a little bit, Twin Peaks would be a great place to go and celebrate something. Just get out there, find yourself something to celebrate. Maybe you're wrapping up January and you went dry January. I told you all month you can go grab a bottle of the Heineken 0.0 for zero proof sips and all the flavor you love. So maybe you're coming out of dry January and you want to, get things a little wet over at Twin Peaks. Go get yourself a beverage, maybe bourbon and brews. Hey, every Friday, bourbon and brews party, 5 to 7. Experience the lingerie costume party paired with exceptional bourbons, tastings, and giveaways. They'll have all kinds of cool stuff for you. Make your plans to watch the Super Bowl out there. Make your plans to watch all the great basketball action out there. Happy hour, Monday through Friday, 2 to 7. Those lunch combos, if you haven't checked those out, once it gets back to normal later in the week, get on out there and tell them we sent you. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views, Stastny, San Marcos, and Round Rock, TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. All right, let's go hour number 2 on a beautiful Tuesday. Maybe not beautiful. It's not the right word. Try not to be one of those people that says it's a great day, even when it's not. Let's try to be as realistic as we can. It's a cold-ass day, and it's confusing for a lot of people. But if you are lucky enough to be off today, if you're involved in a school district, or you or your kids are off, like my kid's off today, like my wife is off today, like Zay's wife is off today. Shout out to all of our great teachers and students. They deserve a day or two, Zay, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Working hard. I'm Chad Hastings. That's
educating the youth.
Getting the kids all educated. That is Isaiah Collier. And there really is nothing more magical than when you get a day off of school. It hadn't happened to me in so long. I can still remember it, though, whether it was elementary school, high school, college, it didn't matter. When you had class and then you didn't, it's still one of the greatest things. The look on my daughter's face when she realized there was no schools. She got in the car yesterday. I mean, just bounded into the car, couldn't wait to tell me. And she tells me then that they're off today. And then she finds out, earlier this morning that she's off tomorrow. Yeah. So she gets 2 in a row. She's thrilled.
Yeah. There was nothing like waking up at around 6 a.m. and going downstairs and looking at the news and trying to see if your school district could come up like the NBA draft and see where are the closures at. And then once you see your name, just a certain thrill that comes over you that, I haven't had that feeling in a very long time. Definitely haven't had that in the last few years being up here.
Absolutely not.
And stuff. But
because trust me, if the big bosses had ever said to me in the last couple of years, you know what we should do? Let's just not do anything. I'd have told y'all that. That's not what they say. That is not what they say. So we are one of those jobs that just we got to figure it out. And we become kind of the essential thing. And we are glad to do it. It is part of what we signed up for. And if you signed up for that kind of stuff, please be careful when you head out. To all of those folks driving those trucks, I saw an 18-wheeler in some trouble today, man. All those truck drivers that are out there, all those, whether you're doing the salt truck, you're actually out there as a part of that. TxDOT folks, we mentioned our postal workers earlier, the trash truck drivers, all those people. All those people. Shout out to all of you, and we hope that you are having a great day. Maybe you're listening to us on the app today. Maybe you're streaming things at hornfm.com. Zay, let's start the hour with some good news, because I am seeing some good news here we'll look for any bit of good news we can on the weather situation. Right now, for the 1 o'clock hour in Austin, Texas, I am seeing 31 degrees, but the good news is I'm seeing a 23% chance of precipitation.
Yeah.
And as I pivot and look around, I don't see a lot of stuff falling right now. Later in the afternoon, 18%, 19%, 13, 11, 13, 24% at 8 o'clock tonight. So right now, if our guys, Rod and Harge, are listening right now, Rod Babers, Mike Harge, if you're listening, I just saw Patrick Davis walk in the room from Ball Don't Lie. Fellas, I think y'all can get in and out.
Okay.
I do. Considering right now, if what I'm seeing holds, I think they might be able to get in and out. The issue still looks like late into the night, midnight, 1, 2 a.m., that's when you're talking about 59%, 62%, 75%, and the temperature goes down to 31. So we always say sports is a matter of inches. Sometimes weather is a matter of just a couple of degrees and what can mess with you. So we're still looking at that mess in the morning. If you're headed out at 7 a.m. in the morning, 31 degrees, 75% chance of freezing rain. That's going to suck. So you got to plan for that stuff. But as of today, doesn't look quite as bad. I am not telling you to get out in this stuff unless you need to. But right now, again, I'm looking up under just greater Austin. So if you're out in your own situation, you know what to look up. But right now, some of that looks good for a little later in the afternoon.
Shout out to our guy, Jeff Howhorns, 24/7 and Light the Tower. He just sent a text in our group chat, said he just made it back to San Marcos.
Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear that Jeff Howe is back at home, and I know Aaron Hogan got back home safely today as well. Aaron took equipment with him, so now that we're in an even more technological age these last few years with not only the cold stuff but the COVID stuff, hopefully Aaron's going to be able to broadcast from home tomorrow. Our man Ty Henderson's going to be spending the night here along with Zay and myself. If anybody else wants to join the ICE crew, Rod and Harge, you just let us know when you get here.
Them brothers ain't coming.
If you just want to join in, you may be able to do that.
Harge, go back to your country days, bro. I know you went camping a lot.
Yeah.
Come up here, do the country thing. Come camping with us.
Earlier, Zay said this was his third time to spend the night at the station. I wish I could tell you it was only my third time to spend the night at the station.
It's wild.
I have spent some nights at stations over the years. All right, so that's what we're doing today. And coming up at 1:30, if you're into high school basketball, we'll tell you about the games that are canceled, moved around. This is obviously a big night. Unfortunately, those games will not be happening because you got to be safe and make sure that is all good. So it is Chad and Zay on the last day of January. We have talked about the Longhorns. Nice win last night against Baylor. Tough, hard-fought win. And Zay, before we get to football, just a quick bit of credit going to Coach Terry and that's coaching staff and the players. Their adjustments at halftime have been really impressive to watch, where Coach Terry's talked about it, where he's got visual guys. They try to show him cut-ups and stuff. He's actually shown them cut-ups at halftime.
Right.
Of something that happened in the first half that he thinks they can translate. And the adjustments they have made, what they did last night, and I heard one of the other shows, I think Jeff Howe was talking about this earlier, but I completely agree with him. It's an impressive number to consider that Baylor was at 40% as a team from beyond the arc. And Coach Terry, at halftime, headed in, told the TV folks, we have got to get them off the three-point line. We got to get out there. 2 of 11 in the second half.
Yeah.
For Baylor. They did a really good job. You said it yesterday. If you allow Baylor to get a rhythm shooting threes, they will run you out of the building.
Yeah, and they're going to keep taking them. I mean, they did a good job double-teaming those guys, coming off of screens at different times and just making it difficult for those guards to all get in the rhythm. I mean, you see L.J. Cryer with his 19 points and Adam Flagler with his 11, Keontae George with his 17. Well, it took 18 shots to get that 17 for Keontae George. It took 17 shots to get that 19 from L.J. Cryer and 12 shots for Adam Flagler to get his 11. So their D was magnificent last night, especially coming off that Tennessee game where they just got eaten alive all the way around, from inside, outside to Kai Ziegler, dribble penetration, setting his guys up. Kamwa was dominating. So coming into this game, which the Horns match up better with the Bears than they do the Vols, you know, you got to get back to the basics. I thought Timmy Allen was good with his off-the-dribble work and getting in a groove early on. He's one of those guys, he has to get going early to have a good game. We know if he struggles in that first half, most likely he's going to struggle for the rest of the game. So him getting off to a good start, like I said in the first hour, having Coach Terry put in them situations where he could post up those guards and have those mismatches. And then we know what Sir'Jabari Rice did. Tyrese Hunter, finally, I think he played his most complete game overall this season. Even with those games that he had early on against Creighton and Gonzaga, offensively and defensively, he might have not shot the best percentage, but the fact that he's shooting that much, you could tell his confidence is up. And he hit a couple of threes last night that were huge and timely, which set up a nice little pump fake off the dribble layup that he got in the second half. If they continue to do that and Marcus Carr comes along and plays better than he did last night and in Knoxville, then the Horns, they could surprise some people with these 2 next games against Kansas State and Kansas.
Yeah, 32 minutes last night for Tyrese Hunter. So we talked Texas basketball. Also, plenty of football to get to. National Signing Day 2 is tomorrow. We'll hit that a little more in the flex segment coming up, but just know there is a rumor brewing out there that maybe Deuce Robinson, the number 1 tight end in the country, could be headed to Texas. You know, it's down to 3. He's going to go hat game, shell game, or some kind of game with Texas, Georgia, and USC. Must be nice. Must be nice to be that talented right now. If you're that freaky a tight end right now and you get to pick between those 3 schools, God love you. One of those 3 coaches is going to be calling plays. Now, I guess Monken could be on the move. There's talk that Monken may be looking at a pro job. He's going to interview, I think, with Baltimore. That could be a wild idea for Lamar Jackson, by the way. That's something
if Lamar comes back.
If it's Lamar. And then if it's not, how does Monken deal with that? And who do they get at quarterback? But either way, Deuce Robinson, hopefully he'll pick the school that works the best for him. And some think there's a national recruiting angle right now. I'm seeing SI.com, one of their guys thinking that maybe it could be Deuce Robinson.
Now, we heard, him being a two-sport athlete, David Pierce being on it, the skipper for the Horns. Is that still a thing? Is he still thinking about coming playing baseball also? Because, I mean, talk about playing for baseball royalty. How could you not want to come to the University of Texas if you want to play baseball and coach is giving you a spot?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know how serious that interest is. If he really truly wants to be a dual sport athlete, but if he's good enough, he gets to do that. We've seen some guys do that last few
years.
Ricky
did it. I mean, he didn't really play baseball in Texas, but we know he was playing baseball in the minors.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think of the last big name I can think of is Jameis. Did it at Florida State.
That's right.
He was a closer for them.
Yeah, Kyler maybe.
Oh,
did Kyler play at
Kyler
Oklahoma?
did play at Oklahoma. I don't think he played at A&M, but I think he did play at Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I think he played a little bit. So we'll keep our eyes on that. We are also keeping our eyes on, in not the most serious way, but it is Pro Bowl week. And I guess, Zay, it's a good thing that when you get to this point of the year and you're doing, Pro Bowl replacements and things like that, it's not as big a deal because there's not an actual game to deal with. I guess in a way it was never a big deal. But was
the Pro Bowl a big deal when you were growing up?
For me, it was a big deal because it was the only time we got to see all the uniforms. But that's because I was a nerdy little kid who liked uniforms.
Yeah, you like uniforms.
But yeah, it mattered a little bit. It was, remember way back in the day, they used to do like the Super Bowl champs would go play a college all-star team. I mean, that's how many extra games there used to be. That used to be a real thing. During my time, I don't think they did that.
Yo, that sounds dangerous.
Oh, yeah, but they did that back into the 60s and maybe into the 70s. I know there's a Packer team or two that did it at one point, but eventually they stopped that. But then, yeah, as I was growing up, it was kind of a big deal. The game where I remember thinking, okay, something's up, is when like dudes started wearing each other's helmets. Like Moose Johnston was in a game I remember, and he wore a Falcons helmet.
What?
And me being the nerd I am.
Yeah, you lost it. Yeah, dude. That probably drove you nuts.
Michael Irvin wore somebody's helmet one time. I'm trying to remember who else did it. But then it was just kind of like, all right, guys, now we're not taking it seriously. What are we doing? But now, thankfully, they've kind of moved on past all that. But the announcement was made. We'll get to some of the other main guys. But Tyler Huntley is going to be a Pro Bowler now, Zay.
Oh, my gosh.
He is a fourth alternate. He was added to replace Josh Allen, becoming one of the most unlikely participants ever. He has only thrown two touchdown passes this year, but you got, obviously, Mahomes was named the starter, but he's in the Super Bowl. Allen injured. Burrow was selected as a backup, so I think I'm assuming he'll be a part of it. And then other alternates, Tua, Justin Herbert, and Lamar Jackson, all those guys have injuries. So all those guys aren't going to be able to play, so you end up with a guy like Tyler Huntley. He becomes the first quarterback since Vince Young in 2006 to make the Pro Bowl after throwing more interceptions than touchdowns. Vince had 10 touchdowns that year in 10 touchdowns in 2009. I'm not sure how many it was in 2006.
But Vince was running that thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But, when you have more interceptions than touchdowns, probably not a Pro Bowl year, but we know how this works. So, Zay, do you think they need to clarify whether or not, is there a certain point where we don't need to be considering Tyler Huntley a Pro Bowl? Because now he'll get a Pro Bowl on his ledger, right? That shouldn't happen.
I guess. I remember we had Mike Griffin on during the football season, and he just talked about him going to the Pro Bowl once. And when I was, when I was talking about him and just breaking down all his statistics and credentials and stuff, I said twice. So it depends on how you look at it. Like, he was one of those guys, the alternate, so he doesn't count it.
He doesn't count that one.
Now, It will be put on there.
Like, yeah, I would think so.
And if I'm Tyler Huntley, if I'm going into negotiations with my contract and stuff, I'm saying I'm a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yeah, no, you're
I
right.
probably won't take you anywhere, but hey, it's there.
Yeah, some of the big names there mentioned Allen, Burrow, Mahomes all got named at quarterback in the AFC. Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Diggs, Stephon Diggs, and Tyreek Hill at wide receiver. Chubb, Henry, and Jacobs at running back. Rashard of Baltimore is the fullback. Mark Andrews is your tight end, along with Travis Kelce. Obviously, Kelsey's not a part of it this week. So all those Kansas City and Philly guys will not be a part of it, like Orlando Brown, who was named, like Joe Thuney, who was named at guard, and like Creed Humphrey at center. They'll all be in the Super Bowl. They will not be able to deal with it. Are you interested in the skills challenge stuff? Will you watch this week?
I like the quarterback challenge. Are they doing the little obstacle course type thing?
I think so.
Okay, I'm with that. The dodgeball stuff, miss me with that.
They're doing something on either Wednesday or Thursday night, and we'll double check that. But I think one of the 2 nights they're doing something during the week. And then on Sunday, they do flag football, and there's some other skills involved. And you've got the Manning brothers coaching. So Eli coaches NFC, Peyton coaches AFC, and, they'll have them mic'd up. That'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
I've actually enjoyed it these last few years. I enjoyed watching dodgeball, that obstacle course you're talking about, and the passing thing where they came up with the big targets that they break.
That's cool.
I'm into that one.
Yeah, anything where the quarterbacks have to showcase their skills, which I'm very anxious to see what Tyler Huntley's going to do in these situations. I see your face.
Exactly.
You got that cringe face.
What?
I mean, show us that you deserve to be here, bruh. So
yeah.
I do like seeing all those high-level athletes being in one place and talking amongst one another and just being cool and stuff. Like, you don't see that very often, which that's a huge reason why I do love NBA All-Star Weekend. Even though it's watered down also, it's just cool to see that much money and that big of, level of celebrity in one place at one time.
And also for these guys like Tyler Huntley, it's like you better step up that level for the throwing stuff, because on the NFC side, it's Cousins and Geno Smith. Like, come on, fellas. Come on, man. I don't see Aaron Rodgers' name on here.
Tough.
I don't see
tough.
Right? I don't see Tom Brady's name on here. Zay, as a basketball fan, nothing more embarrassing to me around All-Star time than when you have a dunk contest and you see it and you're like, oh, God. And it just doesn't quite – it's not meeting the standard. It's not quite getting where it needs to be. In this case, hopefully they'll show up and bring enough of that skill. But I like that one. Back in the day, they did the paint on the end of the football, and they do the targets.
See, yeah, that's dope. I love that.
So now they've come up with this extra cool thing, and the targets are moving around, and they're worth different points. Russell Wilson had a great round on one a few years ago. Drew Brees did a great job on it. So let's see if the accuracy is there for those guys. But I've enjoyed watching it, and most importantly, now we're past, the game itself. The game got silly. They stopped caring. They stopped really paying attention, and at some point we all had to stop and go like, okay, if you're going to have an all-star football game, there better be a reason.
Yeah.
Real good reason. And these guys really don't have one. They'll put up a little money. Winning team would always get a little more money than the losing team. But in the end, I don't think that's, with the way salaries are, not quite enough for these guys. So be on the lookout for Pro Bowl stuff this week. Also, coming up, got an update for you from college football. Nick Saban needs a new OC, but now we know another name that won't be his new offensive coordinator. And we'll get you a flex segment, games that have been canceled for tonight, plus some commitment stuff for National Signing Day 2.
Hey, Chad, also got a breaking news moment right here.
Yes. What do you got?
Big 12 schedule, football schedule, 2023 is out.
Okay, I heard it was coming out somewhere in the. I was off an hour. I thought it was 2:00 hour. Is this coming out right now?
It's out, and it looks good for Texas, baby.
All right, we got the Longhorn schedule. We'll get to that, and then jump into the flex coming up next. Longhorns with an expanded Big 12. What's it going to look like? We will tell you next on the Horn. Oh, mercy. This one sounds like it'd be right up my alley, doesn't it? Just sounds perfect for me. All right, Chad and Zay with you on a Tuesday. I'm assuming this is a band's name, correct?
Correct.
What's the song's name?
Don't Need Rules.
Don't Need Rules. Wow, I do not immediately recognize that voice. Not quite raspy enough to guess that guy. How about, man, I don't know, Y&T? No idea.
Kick Tracy.
No, I wasn't coming up with that. Kick Tracy? No.
K-I-K-T-R-A-C-E-E.
Of course. Watch your spelling on Kick Tracy. All right, Kick Tracy, Starsky and Hutch, and Leo Sayer all have been on the show today. It is a crazy Tuesday for us with this weather situation going on. We've got some breaking news for you that'll get your mind off of it coming up here in just a second. And we also have a flex segment for you. So we want to remind you this Tuesday when we're done, we think Ball Don't Lie with Rod and Harge. I've seen Patrick Davis. I know he's here for sure. That's good news for you, Zay, that Patrick is in the building.
Why is that good news for me?
Because theoretically, the person that's on the board at 3 o'clock can be on the board. Good news for you and me.
I was going to jump off the board. I thought it was going to be Ty's duty because that was me back in the day being the B&E producer. I was doing other shifts.
Is that what it was?
So, yeah.
Shifts.
Yeah.
Easy now.
Yeah, shifts.
Shifts.
So, yeah, there's a hierarchy here. And I love that you're trying to throw me out there, but it ain't going to be me.
No,
Sorry.
I'm just saying. For you,
I
me.
appreciate it.
That's actually good news for you, me, and Ty that
True.
He's here.
Very true.
Yes, but we'll get all that figured out. Hopefully, Rod and Harge will be able to get here. We are seeing some kind of good news in terms of the weather that I'm looking at. But then again, it is all individual with what everybody's dealing with. So we hope you are having maybe a good weather story today, but we'll keep you updated on all of that. We will get into some of the games canceled on the high school level. But first, let's get the breaking news out there. And as Zay told you right before the break, the Big 12 football schedule is out for 2023. Not days and times yet, but days are out there. So we know the opponents, we know home and road, and we know the days they will happen. I just retweeted it at C Hastings 1049, Zay at ain't that _ Zay, the station at the Horn ATX. We'll get that posted for you at hornfm.com so you can go check it out yourself. Zay, as a Texas fan, what are you seeing about this schedule? What's jumping out at you immediately?
Going to U of H on the 21st of October and then having BYU come to town that next week. That's what sticks out the most. We knew Alabama was on the schedule and you would have to go up there to face Nick Saban's crew, but those two teams and not playing Oklahoma State. We won't have to see Mike Gundy this year. We know Mike Gundy has given the Horns trouble over these last few years, especially. And who's the other team that West Virginia?
West Virginia.
Yeah, don't have to see Coach Brown's crew. So, yeah, I think it's a solid schedule. The Big 12 is going to be tough no matter what. We know that. But, yeah, I don't mind going up to the H, Third Ward, and seeing what's going down there, being up on those Cougars. And then as long as Taysom Hill ain't playing for BYU, I think we'll be all right.
Exactly. I don't think he has any eligibility left,
for
but
real.
You never know. So let's run it down for you real quick here. And again, as you look at this chart, when you pull it up, the gray is home game. So Texas will host Rice to start the year. You know they're going to Bama. We already knew that was the second week on September 9th. Then they will host Wyoming. Then they will go to Waco. Tough one there to start conference play. Host Kansas. Play the game with Oklahoma on October 7th. You know it's always right around there. But then how about a bye after Oklahoma? I can't remember the last time that one happened. We'll have that looked up by the time we get there, but that's rare. Then the game Zay talked about at Houston. So staying in the state of Texas for a while there. It's a good long run for Texas. Once they get back from Alabama, you are hosting 2 games. You go to Waco, Dallas, and Houston, then come back and host 2 more games. Host BYU, don't have to make that trip. Host Kansas State, don't have to make that trip. 2 big trips in November are at TCU, at Iowa State. Then you come back for the Texas Tech game at home to end the year. So overall, Zay, if this is indeed the one and only year Texas has to deal with this schedule, we'll see if the SEC folks and Texas and Oklahoma folks can figure out how to get them out for 2024. Not the worst exit I could think of, and we'll need to watch for the games in Waco and Fort Worth specifically for like officials screwing you and things like that on the way out the door. Maybe Iowa State, but I think TCU and Baylor are the main ones that'll blink there. And then depending on what it looks like and what officials come to town, what does the Texas Tech game look like at the end of the year?
Yeah, that's an interesting game.
That one
Last
could be
game
weird.
Of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We don't have to go to Cincinnati or go to Orlando, so at least we could say that. But yeah, this is the same mindset that I had before the schedule even came out. The Horns, with what they have coming back, 10 starters on the offensive end, all the leaders that you got defensively, Jalen Ford and Jaron Thompson and Ryan Watts and, Byron Murphy, guys on the line. We know the edge rushing, that's what's going to need to really improve with the guys that you lost. But still, nothing's changed with my mindset. You should go to Arlington. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like with the talent that you got here, the talent that you got on the bench, with the schedule that's just been put out there, there is no excuse for you not to get to Arlington and Steve Sarkisian's year number 3 and winning the Big 12 or giving you a chance to win the Big 12 before you go to SEC play. And those schools that you just named, those games, Baylor, that's always going to be a tough one going up to Waco, especially like you said, we know how these refs could get. I mean, the Oklahoma State game is the one that sticks out more than anything, like 0 penalties.
Right.
0 donut for Mike Gundy's team. I mean, yeah, talk about discipline there. I don't think they're that damn disciplined. So that's going to come somewhere. I don't know where it's going to come. It might be that Baylor game. It might be the last game of the season, Texas Tech. It might be the TCU one. You still got to play a really good Kansas State team that has Will Howard coming back, and he has complete control of that offense, knowing that Adrian Martinez is gone. It's still going to be tough, but like I said, with that roster and year 3 for Steve Sarkisian, it's Arlington or bust for me.
So, as you look at the schedules, you realize now with a 14-team conference, everybody is not playing 2 teams on the schedule. So you'll get a chance to take a look at that. Obviously, you get 12 games total, 9 conference games, and then I guess it's 2. Do I have the math right on that? Is it 2 or is it 3?
It might be 3. They're not playing.
Maybe it's 3 you don't play.
Yeah, they're not playing Cincinnati. They're not playing UCF. They're not playing West Virginia. They're not playing Oklahoma State.
Oh, okay.
So it's 4.
Yeah, 14. Well, no, yeah, that makes sense, right? Duh. Because you're playing 9. You're the 10th team, and there's 4 others in the conference. So, yeah, there's 4 you don't play, which is weird, obviously, because we've been going through this stretch where the Big 12 plays everybody. So if you're a Big 12 fan, go look up which teams yours don't play. We'll obviously be getting to a lot of that. All right, before we hit the break, let's get you a quick flex segment and tell you where you can go find all the changes on the basketball side of things. All right. If you go to FLXATX.com, you can find the updated basketball schedule, boys and girls, and a lot of the games, obviously, have just flat out been canceled. As an example, Westlake Austin High canceled for tonight. Lake Travis and Drip canceled. Bowie and Aikens canceled, etc. You can go find those games. There are also games in 25 6A. Looks like they're planning to just move games to tomorrow. One game has been canceled, according to this information, with Westwood and Vista Ridge, but then other games, including the Vandergrift game, Manor and Round Rock, Stony Point, and Cedar Ridge, those have been rescheduled for tomorrow. So if you're looking at games in your area, go to FLXATX.com, find out which games have been canceled, find out which games have been moved. It looks like most games have been canceled, but some of them have been just postponed or moved. So keep an eye out for that. Also, you've got National Signing Day 2 coming tomorrow. I hate it for the kids in the area. Hopefully we do get back to warmer weather maybe by tomorrow evening where some of these announcements can be made. But a lot of these kids are going to be maybe making some announcements at high schools tomorrow, Zay, and hopefully, and now you got schools that are going to be closed. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah, instead of a hot tub, maybe they could do it from an ice tub.
It would definitely be an ice tub right now. A couple of shout-outs to local guys, and I saw this, the Flex crew finding all kinds of info. Zay, we talked about the influence that Coach Freeman has had from Notre Dame, not only Jaden Greathouse, not only what's James's name from, is it Stony Point? Darius James?
That was Braylon.
Braylon James. Sorry, you're right. Braylon James.
Yeah.
But now it looks like there's a breaking story from the Irish Tribune that 2024 cornerback Leonard Moore of Round Rock has been predicted to commit to Notre Dame. Now, he's got some time to wait. Remember, he's coming back to Round Rock this year. He is a class of 24, but there's a thought out there that he might be leaning towards the Irish. Wow.
Yeah, some guys like to commit early so they could just focus on their senior season and focus on winning district titles and seeing how far they could go in the playoffs. So we know how Marcus Freeman gets down in Central Texas. He's not afraid to come down here and plug players. You just named a couple of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, we know how good this area is. We've been covering it all year long for Flex ATX. Leonard Moore, he's one of the best players, one of the best secondary players in all of Texas, not just Central Texas. You hear Rod Babers talk highly of him, and Rod being the former cornerback himself, that's a lot of praise. So, yeah, I'm not surprised one bit. I saw him play basketball. He plays for Coach Murphy on the men's basketball team for Round Rock, and he's a hell of an athlete. So, yeah, I'm not surprised one bit. It's still a little salty every time you don't have these backyard guys go down to the 40 acres. Like, how do you let them get out?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't get everybody, and we know Steve Sarkisian, he could get a little nitpicky on, getting quality over quantity. So, hey, maybe just wasn't looking Leonard Moore's way, but Leonard Moore might go to South Bend and thrive.
How about that? Also, shout out to you Lake Travis folks. Marcus Boswell. We mentioned him the other day, 2024 kid. He had made the visit to Colorado last weekend. We told you about that. The running back, linebacker, do-everything player also tweeted out that he's gotten an offer from Tulane. So congrats to him for that. Also, congrats to Noah Baker of LBJ. He has committed to A&M Commerce. So congrats to Noah and all those players. Obviously, he'll be able to make that official tomorrow, National Signing Day 2. And if you are keeping up with things, we were going to have the roundtable tomorrow, but because of the weather, we moved that to Thursday. Thursday, South Lamar Pluckers for Ball Don't Lie, 3 to 7, including the college football, high school football, Super Bowl roundtable, all that stuff, and a little National Signing Day talk as well. That comes up Thursday at the South Lamar location. And if you're looking for Longhorn Weekly with Coach Terry, that's at the campus location of Pluckers. So we're going to be busy at a couple Pluckers locations this Thursday. We do the flex segment for you every day at 1:30. If you're just jumping in, again, there is a rumor out there today that maybe Deuce Robinson, number 1 tight end in the country, could seriously be considering Texas. It may not just be as simple as USC and everything else, or maybe even Georgia and everything else. Maybe he is seriously considering all 3 of those schools, and maybe we'll find that one out tomorrow. Just keep your eyes peeled. There is at least one national perspective leaning Texas on that one. We'll see. Up next, where are we at in society with Zay? We'll get back into the basketball discussion at 2. Texas with a big win against Baylor last night. We're talking about it. We're keeping you updated on the weather today, school closures, and all of that. It's a busy, messy, crazy day on the Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk AV consultations. I heard Jeff Howe on Light the Tower earlier discussing his 75-inch screen that he's got at the house. That made me kind of jealous. I got a neighbor with one of those as well. If you are kind of jealous when you hear a neighbor talk about that, what, 70 inches, 75 inches? Maybe you're still, where are you? You in the 50s? You in the 60s? You want to get bigger? You want more screens? They can do that for you at AV Consultations. They're the ones that did it for Jeff. They've done it for so many of you. They help me with the security system stuff and extra cameras around the house. They can do that for you, and they can get all the speakers, all the cords, all the wires, everything put together the right way. Let them handle every detail. Let them buy the TV because they can get deals nobody else can get, and certainly you can't get it trying to go to a big box store and do it all yourself. Let them handle all those details. Tom and his guys are going to bring everything you need. They will set it all up for you with AV Consultations, and they will not stop until you are satisfied. They've got all the smart TVs, the Sonos audio equipment in stock, and they're not raising prices like a lot of others. AV Consultations, be sure to tell them you heard about it here on The Horn and call 255-8678, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Wow. All right. Getting into a popular topic in the world of rock and roll there. Is it The Who?
That's right.
There we go.
The Who?
The Who? What's the song?
5:15.
5:15. Okay. I don't know if there's a more consistent theme throughout rock and roll. Rock and roll and maybe other forms. Go into rock, go into metal, go into different places if you want. Maybe you go into rap, hip hop, whatever. The idea of a man having relations with a younger woman and celebrating the fact that she's a younger woman. Everybody does that. And everybody's done it over the years. Different ways, but wow. One of the most famous things. Right at the beginning of the song.
Yeah, probably most famously R. Kelly.
Most infamously, probably. Yeah. Most infamous R. Kelly way back, Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean, there's some that have not only gotten into that theme, they've gotten way too way too far into that theme. All right, The Who adding to the list today. Kick Tracy, the Starsky and Hutch theme, and Leo Sayer, all a part of the show today. The Big 12 schedule is out there. We'll be talking about that throughout the day and days to follow. You want to waste some time today? You got some time, extra time, off work, kids off of school. Maybe you work for a school district like my wife does and like Zay's wife does, and you need a little something to look at. It could take you a while to go through 14 teams, all the different teams that they play, and are there certain teams that do play, who do you play? Who don't you play? With a 14-team conference, there are 4 now. Now. The Big 12 can, for a year at least, maybe feel like an SEC, ACC, Big 10. This is what those other conferences have been doing for years, hiding certain teams and orchestrating certain schedules. So you'll figure out which teams play Texas and don't play Oklahoma, or play Oklahoma and don't play Texas. Cincinnati will play Oklahoma but not Texas. BYU will play Texas and Oklahoma, one on the road, one at home. Trying to find another one. Is there any team that doesn't play either? We'll be searching through that, but that schedule is out. Longhorns have a bye week right after the OU game this year, which is pretty rare. So we'll get back into that. Also, the Longhorn basketball team getting the nice win last night against Baylor. We're keeping you up to date on the weather situation as well. The best news I've got for you is the last few times I've looked out this window, it certainly looks cold, but I see cars on 360 a little bit, and most importantly, I do not see precipitation in the last hour or so.
All right.
That's here. That's here on 360 in the Westlake area. Don't let that be me telling you about your weather. You know what's going on in your part of the world. We've had people texting us about, it raining where they are. Specs text line 337-3776. We hope you are safe and sound right now. And as I pull up an app, double check on my phone here, I was going to see where right now I'm showing 30 in Austin with a high of 33 today. So a little later on, might get a little bit over freezing, which could help out, and hopefully just keep everything at the water level for some of you. All right, we'll keep talking about all that stuff coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, back into the Longhorn stuff. Right now, it's Where We At in Society with Zay. Here we go. All right, Zay, do I need to hit Twitter? What do I need to do?
Yeah, hit Twitter, because that's just a little brief description on the topic today. Suburban social workers stole $11,000 worth of chicken wings.
Whoa.
In a $1.5 million embezzlement scheme. So I guess 11,000 chicken wings, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Over the course of 19 months. So she stole
a year and a half, $1.5 million worth of wings?
Yeah. So, she did both. She stole more than 11,000 cases of chicken wings and $1.5 million in taxpayer funds over a 19-month period, court documents revealed. Vera Liddell, who worked as the director of food services at Harvey School District 152, was charged with felony continuing financial crimes, enterprise, and theft. exceeding over $1 million. Also a felony, according to a profile.
Why are you laughing? She's stealing food from kids.
Do you see the look on this lady's face?
Oh my God.
Oh gosh, man.
That is so wrong. So wait.
This lady ain't got no heart.
Her job is to provide food to children and she's stealing the food?
Yeah, Brett Favre somewhere bravoing her.
Wow. Now, Brett Favre is somewhere saying that's too far. That's too far. Reappropriating the money to build a volleyball court, I don't know, but directly stealing the food. I mean, would Brett have gone that far? Man, that's bad. That is really, really bad.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if this is a mugshot or what, but she does look very homely, and she looks like she would do this.
Oh my God!
So whoever hired her for this position, this is on you, because I ain't trusting this lady from jump.
Okay.
Just by her picture, ain't no way I'm trusting this lady.
You're saying people can walk around with an "I'd steal chicken wings from children" face?
Yes, and this lady has it written all over hers.
This lady's got it,
and then some.
Oh my God, that is terrible. Absolutely terrible. By the way, since we just referenced it, I've seen 2 different like sports documentary type stuff or treatments of the Brett Favre situation recently, and I wonder if it's going to keep it in the discussion enough. I just saw Real Sports do a piece on it and an update, and Bomani Jones on his show just did a big hunk of the show.
So like 2 HBO shows.
So HBO, correct. HBO kind of went down that path a little bit, but as of this moment, he still has not technically been charged with anything.
Yeah, what'd he do?
Oh my God.
What he do besides be a good father?
Go watch that Real Sports piece. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. The stuff they've got him on text communicating with the big wigs in the story, it's pretty clear. It is pretty clear, but he hadn't been punished for it yet.
Oh, we know Brett. He could get into some trouble with using the phone.
Oh my good. Yes, exactly.
With those
and that's
pics and stuff. Johnson pics, the old girl.
Yep, that's one of the points Bomani brought up too. Clearly, he doesn't know how texts work. He doesn't understand how those things work. All right, do not steal chicken wings from children. Didn't think we had to say that out loud, but there's your lesson from where we at in society today. Remember, when Zay sends me something on Twitter, it's coming from @ain'tthat_Zay. I'm @CHastings1049. I just retweeted that story, so you can go look at the chicken wing lady's face to see what she looks like. The station is @TheHornATX, and if you go to hornfm.com right now, you can link to the updated schedule for the Big 12 this year. Go look at who the Longhorns are going to play, home and road, and every other team in the expanded Big 12. It is out there. So we'll continue to talk about that. If you missed it, we'll tell you the 4 teams in the Big 12 the Longhorns won't play in 2023. And we'll talk about Texas beating Baylor last night in basketball. Stay warm, stay safe. Do not get out on the roads unless you have to. We'll get you an update on the weather coming as well on the Horn. How about hour number 3 on a Tuesday, last day of January? Cold and weird outside. Hopefully you're inside, safe and sound. It's Chad and Zay on a Tuesday. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier. We are part of the ICE crew, the two of us. Ty from the morning show. We're going to spend the night to make sure we stay on the air. We want everybody to be safe, including Rod and Harge, who may be on the way right now for Ball Don't Lie. Patrick Davis is here, ready to roll, and we will try to do our best to keep things on for you the next day or so. Every third hour of this show starts with a beat that Zay chooses, just special for all of us. What do you got, Zay?
Nas.
Oh.
Made You Look. Instrumental. Classic.
I love the Nas I've heard.
Yeah, this might be my favorite Nas song.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was going at y'all hard when he came out with this one.
It's a great beat.
It's a little more edgier than most of Nas stuff. But yeah. This is a Made You Look. Fire.
Made You Look.
Yeah.
It's a great name.
By the way, going back to our Where We At story, Old Lady and the Chicken Wings.
Yeah.
The reason why she got outed was because kids don't eat chicken wings. Like, that's not on the menu for kids at the cafeteria. So when they saw chicken wings was being ordered, they're like, this doesn't make any sense. We don't serve chicken wings in our cafeteria.
They don't serve them at all?
What's going on?
She was ordering food they didn't serve in the cafeteria?
Yeah, and then they went and looked at Auntie Homely and they said, oh.
She's walking out with a big old trash bag full of what? What?
Yeah, sauces, lemon pepper sauce, and dry rubs.
Okay, see, this is one of those where I don't agree with the crime itself, but if you're going to do it, you couldn't have thought it out any better than that? Why would you go with the food? What?
Yeah, I mean, she had them. It's been 19 months.
Okay, but
she's been going hard since 2020.
Wow, but you could go with the food that you serve at the cafeteria and just skim a little off of that, right?
Nah, go all out. You know how expensive chicken wings are? We ain't got time for that.
She does. She knows exactly how expensive they are. Yes, that is rough when you get caught. So technically, she's not stealing the chicken wings from the children. That must be what she convinced herself of.
Yeah,
that's how
she ain't doing nothing wrong.
That's how she explained it to
herself.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Kids ain't even eating the chicken wings. How can we steal from them?
Oh, the most dangerous voice is sometimes the voice in our own heads telling us why. Why? It's okay. No problem. All right. So we start this hour with a little bit of a weather update for you. I'm looking at the hour by hour. And right now in this 2 o'clock hour, now I am seeing a 50% chance of rain pop up this hour with 32 degrees. But then it goes back to 33 degrees, looks like, for the rest of the night. We hope that'll be true. And 20% and 18% chance. Bottom line, if you don't have to get out, don't get out. If you do get out, please be careful. And specifically tomorrow morning throughout, right now I'm seeing from 1 a.m. all the way through, good grief, all the way through noon. Light freezing rain or freezing rain, temperature at 32 or just below that. And the chance of rain anywhere from 46% all the way up to, say, 70, basically. 67, 68%.
Somebody on Specs text line, stop calling us broke back horn. It is not that kind of party.
Oh, my God.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, Jerry Seinfeld.
Nah.
It is not that kind of party. Even though Heath Ledger and, who was that, Tobey Maguire?
That is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. They killed that.
That was it's a great movie.
They did their thing.
Yeah, great movie.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger, Anne Hathaway, Michelle Williams are the wives in that movie. It's well done.
Well done.
And the cinematography is unbelievable. The scenery up there in the mountains, it's a great movie. Ledger's good. That'd be my second favorite Heath Ledger performance after Dark Knight, because his Joker is the best Joker I've ever seen.
I would say, Dark Knight's number one. My wife would dap me up for this. 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, see, I've never seen that all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
I hear he's great in that, though.
Yeah, I love me some Julia Stiles.
Okay.
Julia Stiles definitely likes her. coffee black, let's say that, from the movie she's been in. But
I
she
see.
kills that role with Heath Ledger. And
Okay.
yeah, shout out to Julia Stiles. Love me some Save the Last Dance too.
So we will continue to look at the weather by tomorrow. If this information is correct, by tomorrow, kind of end of our show, we may get back up over freezing, and it will just be a rain situation we're dealing with. That is certainly what we are hoping. But we're in the ice crew here. We'll stay the night, making sure we stay on the air, and we appreciate you being there. If you want to go to hornfm.com right now, you can go and click and link to the new updated Big 12 schedule. That's right, kids. We now know the schedule. The Big 12 finally got around to letting us know. So in a 14-team conference, there are 4 teams that you will not play. And if you're a Longhorn fan and you just jumped in, the 4 you will not play are West Virginia, Cincinnati, UCF, and Oklahoma State off your schedule. So
yeah, I guess everybody is playing 2 of the new 4 teams that have entered. That's kind of what I'm getting from this.
I think that pattern is probably true. Just scanning here. Baylor's playing UCF and Cincinnati. Iowa State plays Cincinnati and BYU. So I think you're right. That's kind of the pattern that they're throwing out.
Yeah, because I'm good with not playing Oklahoma State, especially with the way Gundy's been handing it to the Horns these last few years. I'm good with that. I would think having both of the Kansas schools, that's interesting to me. Playing both of those guys.
That Texas plays both?
Yeah, that Texas plays both. Yeah. And not Oklahoma State. Right. I think that's very interesting.
And hosts both of them, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would have had Texas play Oklahoma State
right?
Again. Third-party observer, again, there's some things I'm going to miss when Texas moves on to the SEC. I'm going to miss seeing Texas play Baylor, and I'm going to miss seeing Texas play Tech and Oklahoma State because I feel like it's always crazy. There's always some level of insanity with those teams. So I'm going to miss that with those combinations. You know, the Houston thing's going to be there and then gone, so that's not going to crush me. But those are the 3 that jump out to me. So me personally, I'd like to see Texas play Oklahoma State one more time. So I'm with you, Zay. I'd have taken the Kansas game and made it Oklahoma State.
I would have taken Kansas State because they're the former Big 12 champs, and I'd be good not seeing them.
I bet you would. I bet you would. See, I'm trying just to get better football, so I would have let them go at Waco, host Oklahoma State, and then Oklahoma. Bam, bam, bam. That's what I would have done.
Okay.
It would have been a little rough. But you can check out the full schedule there. Some of the other things, I'm just doing a little scan here. Non-conference, Baylor's going to host Utah. That's interesting. Utah coming to Waco. Iowa State and Iowa, we know that one's out there. What was the other one I just saw? Oh, Oregon. Tech and Oregon are going to play early in the year. So see if Coach McGuire's got anything for Oregon early on.
They like their quarterback.
Yeah, Tech or Oregon?
Tech. Well, both.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Bo Nix coming back. Yeah, they definitely like him.
Yeah, Bo Nix. He's on like the 9-year plan out there.
For real. He might be low-key on the Heisman watch this year.
He's locked back in, man. They've turned him into a big-time passer out there. So Longhorns, in case you're just jumping in, the home games, you go you start by hosting Rice, then at Alabama, then you host Wyoming, then you're heading to Waco, then you host the Kansas Jayhawks, then it's the OU game, then a rare bye right after the OU game, then go to Houston, play the Cougars. BYU comes to you, Kansas State comes to you, TCU on the road, followed by Iowa State on the road, and then you host Texas Tech. So, again, Longhorns do not play Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Cincinnati, and UCF. You can go look at all those combinations. Might be a good cold weather idea for you over the next day or so. Go look at who all the Big 12 teams play and don't play. I've also heard, Zay, I haven't looked at it yet, but apparently in the last day or so, or maybe it's coming up tonight, the ACC is about to announce their schedule for this year, and apparently Mac Brown is not happy. And Bucky and Aaron were looking at the specifics today. Apparently, Mac Brown's got to end his season like at Clemson and then at North Carolina State, back to back.
So?
He not happy.
Mac, come on, bro.
He not happy about it.
Come on, Mac. Where's that drive that you had when you were down here in the ATX, bro? Where's that competitiveness? Come on, dog. You in the ACC. You can't bench that much.
He's just not happy about it.
I love you, Mac. I love what you did here, the tenure that you had. One of the best coaches that we've ever seen. One of the best communicators that we've ever seen. Could deal with stuff going on and off the field. Had the different phones. We know the stories with Mac. This is soft. This is weak. This is the AC freaking C. It's not that bad. Like, let's relax. Let's relax. I get Dabo always has good teams, but if we're scared of North Carolina State, then Mac, it might be time to turn that clipboard back in and get back in the booth or get back on ESPN or something like that, because ain't no way we complain about an ACC schedule. Are you serious?
It is a bit rough that he's in the Coastal and he's got to face Clemson and North Carolina State. But that's kind of the way it works.
A bit rough.
I'm just saying for their standards, for the ACC standard of it.
So weak?
Because he's in the
basketball conference?
He's in the weaker side of that conference in the Coastal. No, meaning he's got to play whatever that number is. Because remember, the ACC plays 8 conference games. They're one of the ones that do 8.
Okay.
So
he has to play Florida State?
Florida State, no, not necessarily. Because they're on the other side.
Okay.
Clemson, Florida State, and NC State, I think, are all on the other side. He's in the side with Duke, the 2 Virginia schools.
Oh, so tough.
Miami.
So tough.
He's on the Coastal side.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Ed Reed and those boys are coming out the tunnel anytime soon. I think they completely shut down the Orange Bowl. It doesn't even exist anymore. That's what Mac's acting like the ACC is now.
Yeah. So
it's not that no more, Mac.
We will see what his team faces. I think that comes out a little later today. So by the time we get to the end of this week, you'll have all of that.
Hey, Chad, let me ask you this,
because
somebody on the Specs text line, multiple people have said this. Baylor has 8 home games. Is that interesting? Or I don't think nothing of it. But now that I'm looking at this schedule, it's pretty favorable for the Bears.
Whoa, only 4 true roadies? Is that real?
Now, if we look at last season and the records of last season, going to Kansas State and going to Fort Worth to play TCU, that's going to be tough. But Kansas State, I don't think they're going to be as good as they were this past season. And I definitely don't think Sonny Dykes' team is going to be as good as they were this last season. So,
yeah, if this information is correct, they would be they're the only team that will start the season with 4 home games, 4 in a row.
Then they got to go to Orlando, play UCF. They got Tech at home. Got to go to Cincinnati. They don't have to play Oklahoma. They don't have to play Oklahoma State.
Yep, you're right.
Dave Aranda. He definitely ain't bitching like Matt.
No Oklahoma, no Oklahoma State, no. They play Houston and Cincinnati. They don't play BYU. And, yeah, okay. So they play 3.
They play 3 of the new teams.
3 of the new ones. How about that? 3 of the new ones, and they get 8 home games. Wow! If you're if you're one of those Texas fans that believes in all kinds of weird conspiracy theories, go find out if a Baylor grad put this schedule together. Go find out who's really putting this schedule together. That is interesting. We'll be looking at stuff like that as the schedule is released today in the Big 12. If you're a Longhorn fan, we've also mentioned today with signing day tomorrow, could the Longhorns end up with that number 1 tight end in the country, Deuce Robinson? There is thought that he might be leaning towards Texas. Best news for you if you're a Longhorn fan, there's been no absolute report that he's picking USC or Georgia yet. So you still got a shot, and tomorrow is the day. So we'll keep an eye on that. As of right now, as far as we know, Sark is going to have the press conference tomorrow at 11 a.m. If that changes, we will let you know. We'll try to bring that to you tomorrow, but the weather may get in the way of that. So, but that is tomorrow. Obviously, the Longhorns class is pretty much done at this point for 2023. And, of course, we talked Texas and Baylor from last night. Longhorns get a tough, hard-fought win in a game where Marcus Carr only ends up hitting 2 field goals. His last one was incredibly important because it gave the Longhorns a little bit of leeway there at the end. Another one of those patented step back Marcus Carr, I'm not scared jumpers. And Zay, he knocked it down. Overall, though, to me, and Sir'Jabari Rice was great. You and I both dig Jabari Rice. I love the toughness he showed when he went to the free throw line after getting popped in the face like that, and I'm sure the eyes were watering a little bit. Love watching him. I thought Timmy Allen was the key to that game last night on so many levels. Love him in that mid-range. 7 out of 10. He never attempted a three. He knows where he's comfortable, and I think that's one of the things the Longhorns need to do early on in games and try to do it on these road games. Get Timmy Allen involved as early as you can. Get him comfortable with a couple of shots. And because I think the whole team benefits from it.
I completely agree. He's one of those guys, if he gets going early, like you said, just benefits everybody, and it kind of gets everybody into a rhythm. And when he starts slow, the Horns really struggle, and that's when you have to kind of find and pick and choose to see where you get your buckets from, and that's when other guys have to step up. But being first team all Pac-12 at Utah before coming here, and at the beginning of the season, he really struggled to just find his footing, to find his rhythm within the offense, especially with this more up-tempo style of play that the Horns have had here in 2023. He's gotten a lot better of picking and choosing his spots, cutting at the right times, and also being aggressive and finding his own shot and beating guys off the dribble into that pull-up jumper. I mean, when it's going, it looks good. He had a few jumpers across the middle of the lane, nice post-ups, taking advantage of some of the smaller players on Baylor's team. And he just has to play at that high level if the Horns want to get to where they need to go. If you look at Tyrese Hunter, 5 for 17, that's not good, but just 13 points, lock up D, getting steals, making good passes at the right times. One of the biggest moments of the game, and I heard Craig Way and Jeff talking about this on Light the Tower, Timmy Allen in the second half, he was getting double teamed in the corner. And he made a beautiful pass to Tyrese Hunter that got him a three, and Tyrese Hunter hit it. And that was one of the timely threes that Tyrese hit last night. So just when teams make adjustments on you like they do on Timmy Allen, and we know he still struggles with longer guys, more athletic, those 6'8", really long wingspan type of guys. If he gets in those situations, he had 4 big assists last night, he can create for others. And sometimes he can bring the ball up the court if, Marcus Carr or Tyrese Hunter and Sir'Jabari Rice aren't doing so, and he can initiate your offense. And he has to play with that up-tempo pace. I know sometimes he likes to play with a slower pace and post ups to get to his fadeaways, but I also like when he plays up-tempo. He had a really good cut last night off Sir'Jabari Rice that gave him an and one that really ignited the Horns offense. And I'm going to continue to say this for the rest of the season. They're going to need Dillon Mitchell and Arterio Morris both to step up in the limited minutes that they are given. And both of those guys gave you good minutes last night. The tip dunk with Dillon Mitchell, and then Arterio Morris had a chase down block, a nice step back jumper on the mismatch big man. He had a nice layup on the break off of the Tyrese Hunter steal. So if those guys could give you those good minutes whenever Marcus Carr or some of those guys get into foul trouble at different times, Brock Cunningham, we know he's going to play hard, keep on taking the open shot when he has them. Christian Bishop, he's been good at times, the minutes that he's given you. He gets into foul trouble a little bit too much lately for my liking, but we know Christian Bishop being an undersized big, he's going to play hard and give you everything he's got. You just got to take this momentum into these next few games because we know against Kansas State, it's going to be a tough gauntlet, a game like it's been the Big 12 all season long. Jerome Tang has a really good crew that's looking for a number 1 seed. Like, that's what he's preaching to them right now. Them saying that number 5 in the nation, he's looking at them and say, hey, we could go get a number 1 seed if we finish out the Big 12 strong, have a good showing in the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. And the Kansas State, from being last on the list on the Big 12 poll, ranked preseason poll in the Big 12, to now at top of the league at first, battling with Texas, who has a chance to really do some damage in the standings. You got to love the opportunity that the Horns have going into Kansas this weekend.
They head to the Octagon of Doom Saturday at 3 o'clock, 2:30 pregame for you right here on the Horn. And then they go to Lawrence, of course, Monday night. We got the info earlier from Craig Way. They're just going to bust from one to the other. In case you thought they might come back, no. They're just going to bust from one to the other, spend the night in Lawrence, get a workout there, and then roll into Big Monday. It's the way to do it.
Yeah, and huge game tonight with those two teams, Kansas and Kansas State, up in Lawrence,
So give me a mindset real quick. Do you, as a Longhorn fan, do you root for K-State to win because you just don't like Kansas and them losing's a good thing? and then you want a first place matchup, or do you root for Kansas so you'll be alone in first place the rest of the week? Or do you care?
I don't think you could care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be a fun
One
game.
of these teams are going to be mad.
Be a fun
no
game.
matter what.
Yeah, it'd be a fun game to watch tonight. By the way, you see where it is? You see what channel it's on?
ESPN Plus.
Morons. They couldn't see that game as a game that needed to be on television?
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
my God. Yeah.
Again, Kansas State was picked last in the Big 12 this year.
That's true. That's
10th.
true. All the transfer
All
portal
the teams,
stuff.
10th.
Dang, I get it. All right. So, yeah, that one is on ESPN Plus tonight if you want to check it out. Up next, Why Today Matters. On January the 31st, 3 baseball icons with birthdays today, plus one of my favorite combine freaks of all time has a birthday. We'll talk about all of it on The Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk Apple leasing. Obviously, a little bit different drive coming in today. Had to be super, super careful, hoping that the roads weren't icy, and I was able to get in. Things were just above freezing. In fact, my car from Apple Leasing was telling me that the temperature was just above freezing, and it's also a little bit bigger than the last car I had, so a little more stable in weather like this. That's always an advantage, too. Whatever you're looking for with a new car, they can do it for you at Apple Leasing. Any make, any model, any car, any truck, and get it to you the easiest and safest way possible. And there's never been a better time to lease than right now. You're coming off the end of the year, coming into a new year, so there may still be rebates out there. There might still be leftover holiday sales out there. I know there's definitely some leftover selection at certain dealerships, and you could take advantage of that. But it's a lot of work to figure all those different things out. That's why Apple Leasing is a great way to go. They'll get all the options for you. They'll bring them back to you. So you just call 346-9977 like I did. Again, don't be going out in the cold doing this. You call 346-9977. Maybe do that while you're hanging at the house today. Start telling them what you're thinking of, what you're looking at. They will get all those options put together for you. They'll find the best thing for you, and then they'll deliver it right to your driveway if that's what you need them to do. Check them out today, 346-9977, or just go to appleleasing.com. All right, this is Chad talking sinus and snoring specialists. I've said it before about vacations, but tonight's one of those nights too. We're staying up here at the station. I want to still get some good sleep, and with sinus and snoring specialists, hopefully I will be able to do that. Somebody here in the station was saying that I never sleep well if I have to stay at the station. It's been the night. I get that. When you're in a weird situation, weird bed, different bed, strange circumstances, sometimes it can affect your sleep. The other main thing that can affect your sleep are those sinus issues, sinus infections, allergy stuff that you've been dealing with, and maybe you do have sleep apnea that you need to get taken care of. That's what Sinus and Snoring Specialist is all about. Dr. Slaughter, double board certified in ear, nose, and throat stuff, so that means he's got surgical and non-surgical options that others just don't have. If you're not sleeping the way you should, you need to get it checked out. Don't let that stuff get worse. It'll continue to get worse, and it might even lead to some other problems that you definitely don't want to deal with. Call and set up an appointment today, 512-601-0303, or go to sinussnoringent.com. Do it while you're maybe stuck in the house today in the cold. Get yourself an appointment set up for a little later on. Sinus and Snoring Specialist. Feel clear, rested, and healthy. Is this like a more grown-up version of these guys? Did I hear Chris Cross?
That's right.
Wow. How about that? Did he say 90-something?
Yeah. Yeah, it's 90-some.
They were the Mac Daddy and the Daddy Mac. Is that right?
Yeah, this is when they stopped wearing the backwards fits. They were a little more grown, a little more mature.
It's tough to stay dedicated to that.
It is.
Because you got to have people help you.
Yeah. Yo, they couldn't even rap. Like, Jermaine Dupri just saw them at an Atlanta mall. They had girls around them. They were wearing stuff backwards and said, you know what? We're going to make these guys rappers.
Wow.
Because they got something. They already got the charisma and the flair. We going to make them rappers.
Did it work? I mean, were they?
Yeah, it worked pretty well.
Were they decent on stage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were actually doing it.
Yeah. Jermaine Dupri's a genius.
Good for him.
Like, I put him up there. Diddy, Dre, guys like that. Jermaine Dupri doesn't get the love that he deserves.
Chris Cross, all grown up back in the 90s. We also had The Who earlier, Kick Tracy, the Starsky and Hutch theme, which somehow fit this weird weather today. And then Leo Sayer started us off, plus a great Nas beat to start this hour. Zay and Chad with you. We are going to be here tonight along with Ty, the Ice Crew. It's funny, nobody's joined the Ice Crew since the show got started.
For real?
Have you noticed that? I haven't seen anybody that's ready to join. I'm sure they're just lined up outside. I'm sure they're lined up outside the door. We will make sure that we stay on the air here, barring, weather shutting off signals and stuff. We've had that before. We had that a couple years ago. We're keeping, knock on wood, we're keeping our fingers crossed that the power stays on and the heat stays on, because if that changes, then things will definitely get a little more complicated. But right now, things are looking pretty good from some of the things. We're looking for little pieces of good news with the weather here and there. We'll keep you updated there. Go to hornfm.com for all those school closures. And then also, I'm told by the Flex crew, I was at flxatx.com, but I hadn't refreshed the page in a while. A lot of those games I talked about, a couple of those games that I mentioned might happen tomorrow, have now been canceled. Everything in 25-6A that we were mentioning, Vista Ridge, McNeil, Round Rock's game, Cedar Ridge game, those have all been canceled now and not moved. So go check that out. You can also go online. If you are a player or coach involved in boys or girls basketball, go to Twitter and go to FlexATX, at FLXATX on socials, and they've got a pinned tweet right there at the top for you that you can add the information to. Let us know what's happening, what's not happening. If there's something you see that's incorrect, please let us know and let the Flex crew know. And we hope everybody is safe and sound out there, and best of luck to those basketball teams when they get back at it. New Big 12 schedules out there. If you want to see it, Longhorn fans, you can check it out at hornfm.com. That'll definitely pass some time as you are maybe stuck in the house today. Right now, though, let's go why today matters, and we will start with me feeling really old. Here we go. All right, it is all great news until I get to the very last part of it. Super Bowl 27, Cowboys over the Bills. It was the first time I got to see the Cowboys win a Super Bowl live. I remember watching it in the house, and my parents and the friends and everybody comes over, and they whipped the Buffalo Bills 52-17. The only bad news is that was 30 years ago. Holy hell, 30 years ago.
It's a long time.
But that does make sense. So that means 30 years ago would have been that would literally be the year. That's the year I graduated from high school. I'm going to graduate high school a little later on in May. 30 years ago. Geez, that would have mean that's right after. Well, just right before my grandfather dies, February 22nd, I believe, of that year. That's 30 years ago. That didn't feel like 30 years ago. Man, that's crazy. Time does fly, but that was the day the Cowboys whipped the Bills. They would then beat them again and obviously beat the Steelers a little bit later on. But I'm telling you, Zay, there was nothing like Super Bowl 27. They knew they were going to win. Jimmy Johnson predicted it. He told everybody to put it in 3-inch high letters, and they thrashed Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills.
Do you think that was a part of Jimmy's demise, with him just going out there being so confident, basically saying, we're going to win this game because he got so much credit for that. People were like, oh, he's such a badass
Yeah, maybe.
for
I don't
saying all
know.
that. And, Jerry he never liked Jimmy. He never liked the credit that Jimmy Johnson took. We know their whole relationship and how south it went. I just feel like there's things like that.
Yeah, you might be right. I never really thought about that as being an issue, but yeah, those two egos and the way they got along were so weird. So weird. Like Jimmy could have heard Jerry later on say, 500 different coaches could coach this football team. He could have heard that and laughed it off, but he didn't. His ego took it the wrong way. His ego really took that the wrong way.
It should.
And I know deep down it should, but neither of them could deal with the other one the right way. And Jerry should have just done what owners do. Hire your coach, hire your football people, get the hell out of the way.
Get the hell out the way.
But he didn't. All he needed to do. I wish I could go back and find who would have been the perfect GM for that moment. Either make Jimmy the GM as well, but he was pretty young he was brand new in the NFL. I wouldn't have done that. But who would have been that perfect GM? Go back, find that's what he should have done. Hire those two people, then get out of the way. And then smoke as many cigars as you want, drink whatever you want, take the credit however you want. But you gotta let the football people be the football people.
Jimmy Johnson, he should still be a part of the franchise. Like, think about scouting talent, going from college to the NFL and just having that good eye and just being credible. Just you're like, why, if you're Jerry Jones, how can your ego overtake that? Like all the money you're making. Like that's when it became America's team. And it's been like that for 30-something years.
Right. Yeah.
Like the fan bases that have just been
that's crazy,
getting killed, and just their morale has been in the gutter for years and years and years. You could have just said, you know what? I need this guy. This guy has brought us so much success. But nah, you think Barry Switzer is part of the solution.
I know. Yeah, it's just so crazy. Yep. Of all the people because he's kept so many people in the family and been questioned for it, that's the guy you couldn't keep in the family. That's a good point.
What?
It's a good point. 30 years ago today, Cowboys fans, was Super Bowl 27. All right, Zay, tell me what you think of this threesome in baseball. I'll argue maybe this is the day that has the most badass 3 baseball birthdays at once. Today is Jackie Robinson's birthday.
Man.
Today is Ernie Banks' birthday.
Okay.
And today is Nolan Ryan's birthday.
Wow.
I don't really know. I'm not sure if we could top that one. Happy birthday to Nolan. He is 76 today. Ernie would have been 92 and wanting to play too. And Jackie Robinson would have been 104 years old today. If you don't know that old school, it is UCLA for Jackie Robinson.
Yo, shout out to Jackie Robinson for teaching at my alma mater for like a couple of semesters.
Oh, that's right.
Houston Tillotson.
Yes, sir. That's true.
Back in the day, he coached the basketball team and coached a few other sports. I think he was obviously involved in baseball, but yeah, Jackie Robinson, he's a Central Texas legend in a way.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, if you're putting together the Mount Rushmore of important athletes, I think Jackie Robinson has to be on it.
100%.
I think it's got to be one of the 4. And then you have your discussions about what else you want to do.
Like Jim Brown, maybe.
Yeah, and
what he did, and Bill Russell, those guys.
Right, how you want to define importance and all that. But Jackie, big time.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan, I always think, the no-hitters come to mind and all the one-hitter games that he's had, but the work he did to get those, just old farm-like workouts, putting his hand in the pinto beans, just turning it.
He threw the 7th
for hours.
He was 46 when he threw the 7th no-hitter. 46, eh? By the way, how about this? He threw 7 no-hitters, 12 one-hitters, 18 two-hitters, and 31 three-hitters in his career.
And had a mean headlock, too.
Yeah, he did. He did. Just ask Mr.
He got
Ventura.
old boy in that headlock.
That was good stuff. Good stuff. A couple of beautiful, talented ladies with birthdays today. Kelly Lynch, Roadhouse fans. Remember the doctor from Roadhouse? Yeah, Kelly Lynch, 64 today. Kerry Washington, for all of you, what was that show called? Scandal? Yes, for you Scandal fans. She's 46 years old today. And Zay, it is the birthday of one of my favorite combine freaks of all time. In fact, he's the first combine freak to me, Vernon Davis.
Yes.
39 years old today. Do you remember the old school for Vernon?
Maryland. I'll never forget that.
Very good. Here's Vernon Davis at the combine. 6'3 and a quarter, 54, he ran a 4.38. He had a 42-inch vert, and he slammed the weight up 33 times.
He was so intimidating coming into the league.
At tight end. Oh, my God. I'll never forget watching those videos from Indy when he was going through all that. You were just like, he did what? Huh?
Yeah, with those numbers that he put up, he had a really good NFL career. Probably a decade in the league at tight end. We probably most known for 49ers, but
Almost won that Super Bowl with him, right?
I think so.
I think he was on the team that lost to the Ravens.
That sounds right.
That Harbaugh game?
That sounds right.
That might have been he was
Yeah.
such a freak.
But people would say he underachieved with all those stats that he put up at the combine and what he did at Maryland. Like, I'll never forget the hype that he had coming into that draft. And
he also had
Kyle Pitts kind of mirrored that too a couple years ago.
That's a good point. He also had that tough time with Mike Singletary as the coach, and that didn't all.
They did have a
that
little
was some
thing.
weird time for him. Yeah, he kind of lost some time there. But happy birthday to Vernon, just 39 years old. If you see him today, do not challenge him to any of those skills. He will be better. I bet he can still run a. What do you think he can run today at 39? He can go sub.
I'll give him 4.7.
I'm about to say sub 5, right?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. He can probably still get after it.
It's Roshan Johnson's birthday today also.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Very nice. I apologize for not seeing that, Longhorn fans. Thank you for shouting that out. Roshan Johnson, happy birthday to him and best of luck. Speaking of the Combine and the NFL coming
he's
up.
He's going to kill it at the Combine.
Oh, we'll be interested to see where he ends up. All right, there's January 31st and why it matters to us. All that matters to us today is that you are safe and sound and safe and dry out there today. Stay off the roads unless you absolutely have to get out. Stems and Seeds coming next, including the Big 12 schedule for the Longhorns. Who aren't they playing? And who are the two teams they're playing around Alabama? We will tell you all of that. And the one Big 12 team that seems to have gotten the most love from the schedule makers. That's next on The Horn. All right, just about to wrap it up on a Tuesday. This one sounds like I'm not going to have a shot.
No chance.
I don't think I'm going to have any chance on this one. This sounds like someone from an era that if I talked to a fan of this particular artist and I said like Jay-Z or Ice Cube, they'd laugh at me. So this feels really new.
Yeah.
Who am I dealing with here?
Kodak Black.
Kodak Black?
Kodak Black.
Black. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the little rhyme scheme in the name.
Yeah. From Florida.
Okay.
I think he's like 22 years old, but he's been to prison a few times, so credible in the rap game.
Now, that gets you credibility.
Oh, yeah.
That gets you.
Yeah.
Be honest now. Are you familiar with Kodak Black?
I am.
You a fan of Kodak
Yeah.
Black? Okay.
Yeah, Kodak. I'm open to the new cats out here. I'm not opposed to that.
Okay.
You know, the mumble rap, it's hit or miss for me. Kodak, he's one of the mumble rap guys that I like.
Now, we always talk about athletes that have, perfect NIL deal opportunities. Please tell me that this is an artist that has gotten hooked up with Kodak. Like, I mean, come on. You're going to have the name, right? Can we get the man a Kodak deal, please? Or is he a little edgier than that?
He's a little edgier than that.
Okay, fair enough. Kodak Black, along with Chris Cross and The Who and Kick Tracy and the Starsky and Hutch theme and Leo Sayer, all a part of the show, plus a nice Nas beat to start the hour.
Yo, I'm waiting for the new Keelan Robinson album.
Is it coming?
It should be.
Really?
I mean, off season, you would think that's when he works.
He showed us some talent.
Yeah.
He would have shown us more if they'd handed him
the
or
ball.
thrown him the ball. But he did show us some talent on that video.
He's got some juice.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like just a athlete who's rapping.
No.
Feels like a guy who's got the talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll check it out. Yeah. Number 7.
He's not an Empire rapper. You remember Empire, the show with Taraji B. Henson and Terrence Howard?
I do.
That was on Fox. Yeah, he's not an Empire
Not one of
rapper.
those?
No,
Okay.
he's an actual legit artist.
Okay, fair enough. All right, before we get out of here, we remind you the Big 12 schedule hit while we were on the show today. We'll get you some more details of that right now. Ball Don't Lie coming up with Rod and Harge, I think. I know Patrick is here. Harge is here?
Harge is here.
We've got an ID on Harge. Excellent. All right. That is very good. Zay, myself, and Ty are a part of the ICE crew. We'll be spending the night tonight and keeping you updated. Keep it right here.
Yeah, Hard talking about, so you spend the night, huh? I'm like, yeah. So he's like, have fun. I'm like, what, you ain't? I'm a grown-ass man. I got kids. I'm like, what?
The grown-ass man argument, huh? Grown-ass.
I got kids. I'm like, okay.
Man, you should have heard Eric Rains from Coke FM describing it today in a meeting. I mean, it was you'd have thought he was being asked to like walk through the snow barefooted. He's like, "In no way, I'm staying at the station. Something's got to be figured out." I was like, "Okay, all right."
I feel him.
Like to me, that's just the easiest way to deal with it.
Oh,
but,
I feel him. That's why.
it's not.
You and I, Ty, essential workers.
Hey, it's not a blast. I'm not going to argue that. But I've done it over the years.
Oh, I have ways to have fun up here.
Hey, I
got my laptop. I'm good to go. I brought snacks, all types of stuff.
All right.
Like, sorry, Janet Jackson, I got hot Cheetos ready to go.
Ready to roll.
Ready to roll.
All right. So we hope everybody is safe and sound out there. Ball Don't Lie is coming up. Right now, Stems and Seeds will dig further into this Big 12 schedule. Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. So if you missed it earlier, Texas fans, you are not playing Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Cincinnati, and UCF. You've got home games with Rice, Wyoming, Kansas, BYU, Kansas State, and Tech, and you will travel to Bama, Baylor, obviously the OU game, Houston, TCU, and Iowa State. If you want to get mad at the schedulers, you do it because of Baylor. Baylor has 8 home games this year, and Zay, I cannot find another team with 8. They're the only one. Why does that have to be the case? I haven't done the math in my head of, do you have to have a team with 8?
Yeah, maybe they just felt so bad for Dave Aranda on how Austin Novosad did them on signing day by flipping and going to Oregon. So they're like, God, this guy, he might not have anybody to take the snaps this year. Let's give him an easier
Man.
schedule than everybody else and see what happens.
Maybe it's a mistake and they're actually going to Utah, but this says they are hosting Utah and they're going to start with 4 straight home games. Here's some other things I've been able to pull out of the schedule so far for some of the new teams. Cincinnati, in their first year in the Big 12, they will not play Texas, TCU, K-State, or Tech. That's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Not a bad entry point. And then UCF will not play Texas, BYU, TCU, or Iowa State. I have not had a chance to dig through BYU and Houston to figure all of that out. But as I scan it here, Houston does not have to play OU. So that's good news for them the first time through. We just did mention that they do play Texas. So you can find the full schedule, hornfm.com. You can link through it there. We now know what we hope is a 1-year situation. So now that we have this, Zay, we need to keep asking that next question. Okay, now, Texas, Oklahoma. What are you hearing from Birmingham? SEC, what are you doing to make this thing roll? Because all we've got now is a couple insider reports that it could be 2024. But we need to make sure that happens.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out as quick as possible, so I'm with you. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's get these conversations, these meetings, these Zoom calls, whatever you need to happen to make the process go a little bit faster than it's going. Let's do that, because we dodged a bullet not going to Cincinnati and not going to Orlando to play against UCF. Like the Horns, I think they got lucky. Like that's an easy trip down the road to H-Town to play Houston.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You ain't got to go to Utah. Let's take what we got and get out before it gets real dirty like it could get next season.
Yeah, think about it. You got 3 old Southwest Conference bus trips this year. You're going to Waco, Fort Worth, and Houston.
Take that.
That's so much better than, and you don't have to go to West Virginia. You don't have to go to Kansas State and deal with all that mess of getting there, and you don't have to go up in the mountains and hang with BYU. They're coming to you. So, Zay, as a Longhorn fan, does not want 2 straight years of this. So, SEC, if you're listening, let's get it figured out for 2024. One other quick note, apparently Ryan Grubb is going to stay the OC at Washington and not be Nick Saban's new offensive coordinator. That means Saban is still looking for somebody to replace Bill O'Brien, who went to the Patriots. Just keep your eye on it. Maybe somebody doesn't want to call plays for Nick Saban. Interesting. Ryan Grubb going to stay at Washington. Reportedly, they're going to pay him $2 million.